City Council meeting to order at this time. Lena, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Linus.
Here.
Councilmember Rivera. Vice Mayor Altamirano.
Here.
And Mayor Guimedo.
Here. And could I have everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance by our Library Director, Sonia Bautista, and please remain standing for the invocation by Councilmember Linus. Thank you.
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready? I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. As we come together today to address matters that affect our community, let us take a moment to reflect on our values and the responsibility that we have as stewards of the city. Let us draw inspiration from the diversity of perspectives and experiences represented in this room, recognizing that it is through open dialogue and collaboration that we can achieve our shared goals. Let us be mindful of the trust placed in us by the residents we represent. With this trust comes the obligation to govern with integrity, transparency, and accountability, always mindful of the greater good and the well-being of all of our constituents. Tonight, may our collective efforts today be guided by wisdom and fueled by a commitment to building a better future for this city and its residents, grounded in cooperation, respectful collaboration, and a shared vision of progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia, and thank you, Councilmember Linus. And at this time, we're going to move to appearances and presentations. We're going to start with item number 1, a certificate of recognition for Monica Bracho, Vice President of Park Lawn Cemetery here in the City of Commerce. And I do have yes, oh, thank you. I do have a certificate for you. Let me go ahead and let me read it. City of Commerce, this is the City of Commerce Mayor's Certificate presented to Monica Bracho, Park Lawn Cemetery. On behalf of the City of Commerce, we extend our heartfelt gratitude in recognition of your outstanding contributions to our community. Your dedication, volunteerism, and generosity have made a profound impact, enriching the lives of countless individuals. As Vice President of Inglewood Cemetery and Parkland Cemetery here in the City of Commerce, you have demonstrated exemplary leadership and unwavering determination in your efforts to enhance our neighborhoods and create a better environment for all residents. Through your support, various organizations such as David and Margaret, as well as your engagement with communities, youth, and families, you have exemplified kindness and compassion, leaving a lasting mark on the City of Commerce. This certificate of recognition serves as a token of our appreciation for your exceptional achievements and positive influence you have had on our community. Presented this 14th day of May 2024, Hugo A. Argumedo, Mayor, and you also have the insignia of each of our council members on this certificate. We want to thank you for all of the great help, and I know that we've listed just some. We didn't list everything. I know in the past we've celebrated Dia de los Muertos at the Parkland Cemetery there in Commerce, and it's turned out to be a fabulous event. I've seen you in many occasions at our senior center, and you volunteered to donate without being asked, and not only do you donate things to our seniors, centerpieces, and other things, but you actually show up to the events and actually are willing to help putting things together. So I want to thank you and recognize you and commend you for your great leadership in our community. Thank you. Would you like to say a few words? Yes, absolutely. I'll tell you what. Come on over. I'm going to let you come and sit over here in the middle spot. This doesn't happen very often. Come on over.
Usually I'm never at a loss for words. Anyone that knows me knows that. But first and foremost, I want to give the glory to God, because without him, this wouldn't be possible. And this recognition goes to my parents. They're both gone. But anything they instilled this in us to always pay it forward. And like I always say, we have to take care of our future, which is our children, and we got to take care of our past. All the seniors that have done their duty, and now it's our time to take care of them, because it goes full circle. But thank you so much. I'm humbled by this. As you know, I think I don't usually want to be in the limelight. I like being just behind the scenes, and thank you for the opportunity to allow me to participate in this great community. I have to say, I mean, it's so impressive how this community is so connected, the seniors, and everything that you do, it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you so much. I'm very, very honored and humbled again, and thank you so much, and God bless you.
Council, any comments, or would you all like to?
Sure,
Can I
just,
get to
Yes,
sit here?
please.
thank you.
Great, I'm gonna have you run the rest of the meeting. You've done so good
No,
so
I
far.
think the mayor kind of, his sentiments are very much shared by all of us. I am just so honored to have met you many moons ago when I did. Little did I know that that was gonna flourish into just the amazing things that have happened between, with that collaboration through Park Lawn and the City of Commerce. The community doesn't know every single thing that you do, because like you said, she never let me share everything that she's done, and she's always wanted to stay in the background. But for those of you that have been a part of our backpack giveaways and gotten school supplies, she's been a big part of that. To our seniors, a lot of the centerpieces, gifts, raffle gifts, she's been behind all that. Posadas, she's been behind all that. So anything that the community needs, she's always, like the mayor said, she doesn't wait for us to ask for help. She reaches out and says, how can I help? What can I do? What can I donate? So, Monica, I've said this to you before, but mil gracias. I know that you do this as a token of appreciation and in memory of your parents, and I know that they are super proud of the woman that you have become and the work that you're doing to honor their legacy. So thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no. If I may, Monica, I just wanted to echo the same sentiments as my colleagues here. You mentioned something interesting. You really appreciate how tight-knit and, this community is, but that really is only possible with the community partnerships that we have, and you are an amazing community partner. You're an amazing person. You're always coming up to us asking how you can help, how you can support the events that we're trying to do, how can you help our residents, our community feel appreciated and acknowledged. And so, you're a large part of why the City of Commerce is so great and so tight-knit. So I really appreciate you and everything that you've done, and you have an amazing team at Park Lawn. But, thank you so much, Monica. You're great.
Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you, thank you.
Monica, I just want to thank you. Repeating what they're saying, you're just wonderful, and I've known you for a very long time. When I saw you a year ago, I was like, oh my gosh, I know that person. I was in her wedding. But thank you for everything you do. That's very heartfelt. Thank you.
It's a small community. Went to your wedding. Monica, thank you for everything you do for our community. This is just a small token of what the mayor did for you today in City Council. Just thank you for everything you do for our kids, seniors, and we're here to work in partnership with you. So thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, my team from Park Lawn is here, so thank you so much, because it all came through them, and it's an effort, a team effort, so thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us. Thank you.
How's that feel? Pretty good?
Wonderful.
All right, good.
Thank you
We're
so
gonna
much.
go up and get a picture with you in front of the diocese, okay? Well, that was a first. We generally don't do that. Usually that takes place over at that podium, but that was great. Definitely a nice person to have come and sit at the mayor's chair here. Again, thank you. And so at this point, we're going to move to item number 2, which is a proclamation designating the week of May the 13th through the 17th, 2024 as National Transportation Week. So with the consent of the City Council, the mayor will proclaim the week of May the 13th through the 17th, 2024 as National Transportation Week. Do we have a presentation, by the way? There you are.
Good evening.
Please.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Angie Verdon, and on behalf of the Transportation Department, I come before you this evening to ask the City Council proclaim May 13th through 17th as National Transportation Week. It's a week that reminds Commerce residents of a valuable free resource they have at their disposal, that is the dial-a-ride service for seniors and the transit buses. Transportation Week is a week that encourages the public to use public transportation, as this eases traffic congestion and promotes a cleaner environment. Now, the department believes that every employee is worthy of acknowledgement and recognition for the hard work that they do, and showing that appreciation motivates an individual to strive to do their best. Transportation Week is a week where we recognize the men and the women who make the department move forward. Our bus operators, service workers, transit supervisors, dispatchers, parts assistants, analysts, mechanics, managers, and our director. We take advantage of the week to encourage and promote good rapport and good conversations among staff. We have some exciting activities that have been planned throughout the week, as has been done in the past, to show that appreciation. And we've prepared a brief video that showcases the department's role that it has had in the community over the past couple of years. We've provided each of you with your personal invitation to our Transportation Week, along with a little gift for each of you. We hope that you can make it. We would love to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie, for the presentation. And at this time, with the consent of the City Council, the mayor will proclaim the week of May the 13th through the 17th, 2024 as National Transportation Week. Any objections? Seeing none. So let me go ahead and read the proclamation. A proclamation of the City Council of the City of Commerce designating May the 13th through the 17th, 2024 as National Transportation Week. Whereas in 1961, President John F. Kennedy declared the third Friday of May as National Defense Transportation Day, and whereas in 1962, Congress updated their request to include the whole week within which the Friday falls as National Transportation Week. And whereas the transportation industry has transformed America into a sophisticated network of metropolitan communities, whereas public transportation is a central component of the national transportation network. Whereas public transportation connects workers with jobs, families with each other, and public with resources to live their lives. And whereas the city's transportation department has been providing quality, fare-free transportation services to the city's residents for 55 years. Whereas the Commerce Transportation Department annually transports over 455,700 passengers for approximately 561,800 miles each year. Gosh, I was tired just reading that. That's a lot of a lot of miles there. Whereas the City of Commerce maintains a professionally trained and dedicated staff of bus operators, mechanics, supervisors, and support staff who play a vital role in the overall success of the city's transportation system. And whereas the Commerce City Council and staff remain committed to providing safe, accessible, affordable, and essential public transportation services to the city's residents and business community. Now therefore, the City of Commerce City Council does hereby proclaim the week of May 13th through the 17th, 2024 as National Transportation Week, and urges all those who live or work in the City of Commerce to support and promote this observance. Passed and approved this 14th day of May 2024. Signed, Hugo Argumedo, Mayor, and of course, all of the members of the City Council. Thank you. Claude, thank you and your entire team for all the great work you do, not only this week, but throughout the year, and for the many years of service that you provide to our community. I know it's very well appreciated, and I know you guys continue to come up with different ways to address the ongoing concerns, issues that come up, and I know we have a great presentation coming up in the near future that I think all of the City Council will be very happy and pleased to hear about a new line that I believe we're going to be introducing. And we're looking forward to your presentation in the near future. Thank you all. Appreciate you. All right. So let's move on now. And at this time, we're going to move on to public comment. And before I start pulling all these cards that we have here, I'm going to allow our acting city manager to make the introduction of our new city manager.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council, and the community of Commerce. I would like this opportunity to introduce the newest member of the city's executive team, our new city manager. He joins us from over 20 years of city administrative experience. He has significant experience managing all of our city departments. He has been responsible for leading city teams that have brought important economic development opportunities to his former communities. Importantly, for the City of Commerce and our community, he has significant experience working with casinos and fighting for their viability while under attack by various interests across the state. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Ernie Hernandez to the Commerce team.
Ernie, would you like to say a few words?
If I can figure this out, thank you. Yes, Honorable Mayor, Member City Council, first let me thank the City Council for the opportunity to come join the Commerce City family. I very much look forward to knowing the community, to working with city staff with the ultimate goal in working hard in a collaborative manner. I think with a focus, as you will hear from the rest of your management team, on being transparent, working with integrity, and keeping the city's best interest and the overall goal of improving the day-to-day quality of life for our residents being the focus of how we're going to operate as an organization. Very much look forward to your leadership and moving the city forward. And yeah, I'm just excited overall. It's going to be, I think, a great team effort.
Thank you, and welcome aboard, and welcome to your first meeting here for our community there. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to public comment at this time, and I do have several cards. Please let me remind everybody, there's a time limit. Lena, I believe we got 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and that's so that everybody will have an opportunity to speak. So please, when the time runs out, we'll remind you that your time has run out, and it's not that we don't want you to. We want to interrupt you, but we want to hear from everybody else as well. This item is not anything that's on the agenda, so, we're not going to be deliberating on an item that's on the agenda, but we appreciate, I believe most of you are going to make comments related to a specific item that you're coming here on behalf of. But I don't believe it's on the agenda, and so therefore, we won't be able to directly respond on that particular item, but we will allow our new city manager, who is very much aware of this item, and he is prepared to make some remarks related to that. City Manager, Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, Honorable Mayor and Mayor of City Council, if it's the pleasure of the council, I think maybe we can listen to public comment, and then I can provide an overall response, depending on the comments that are made.
Sounds good. We'll do that. That would be appropriate. Thank you. Okay, we'll hear from our first speaker, and that would be, sorry, they were a little bit out of order, and that's why I moved it. So I'm going to start with the first one that submitted the card, and I believe that was Jesse Hernandez. Jesse?
Hello. Yeah, I've lived here in the city for 35 years or more, and I don't think I've ever seen the city in such disarray. Lifeguards. City of Commerce has been known for water polo, swimming, boxing. And it seems like we're in the shadows now. We're supposed to be the model city, and I don't see that happening. I'm not here to put blame or point fingers at anybody, but I'm just talking from my heart, from what I see and what I hear. Our part-time employees, ever since I've been living in the city, I've always heard it. Man, we're getting crumbs for pay. Everybody's getting pay raises. But when it comes to the part-time employees, they're getting crumbs. I'm not here to point fingers, like I said, but I know some people here are making some pretty good money. And I'd like to see some of that kicked down to the part-time employees. Insurance. Man, how can people live without insurance? It's a hard time. Some people are married, have children, and they're trying to live off this wages that the city is giving them, and it's not fair. They need a living wage. McDonald's is giving $25 an hour. These guys are saving lives. They're out there pulling people out of the water. And I just don't, the disparity is just crazy. I don't think it's right. I just hope this doesn't fall on deaf ears. This has been an ongoing problem for a long, long time. And I just hope it gets better. It's nothing for me. It's for the community. It's for the people. No lifeguards? No swimming lessons? Really? I got a grandchild that I want to put in swimming lessons, and I can't bring her because there's no lifeguards. You guys can't kick up the money so you can bring people in, hire them? Don't bring contractors. I've had that problem before with the work I've done. We don't need contractors. We need city employees. We got hardworking people who want to live here, who want to work here, who want to stay here. They deserve it. And that's all I just wanted to say, so thank you for your time. Mr. Manager, I hope you can help these people out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Alfredo Beltran?
Good evening. My name is Alfredo Beltran, and I'm in here on behalf of Omar Olivas, our president, and I'm going to read a letter. Dear Mayor and City Council, my name is Omar Olivas. I am the president of ASME Local 773, City of Commerce Employee Association. This letter is to support our lifeguards, instructor lifeguards, and supervising lifeguards request to increase the pay rate that makes these positions competitive so we can hire the additional staff that we need. A year and a half ago, we sat down on the table to discuss with the city manager and HR and express our concerns regarding the lifeguard series pays that was being implemented. Excuse me. At the time, the entire country was facing a lifeguard shortage. This shortage is still continuing now. The study implemented a lower pay rate for the lifeguard series when they were previously had. City management acknowledged that this might be a problem, but it could be addressed in the future, and asked us not to hold up implementation of the classification comp for the whole city. Since the implementation, we have continued to lose lifeguard staff who are moving on to better paying jobs. At the same time, the city has tried to recruit new staff and is not getting qualified applicants. The last recruitment, we were able to hire 1 lifeguard and 0 lifeguard instructors. Guards, excuse me. The County of Los Angeles recognizes that they would not be able to continue offering their programs unless they raise their lifeguard series pay. The county is now starting lifeguards at $23.87 an hour. They are trying to hire 500 new lifeguards for this summer, and this is sucking up the job applicants. People that would apply to work for Commerce are now applying for the county. How can you blame them? Then when the county is paying 33% higher wages of their lifeguards. The solution is to raise lifeguard series pay to make us competitive with the county. The department's solution is to look at contracting our swimming lessons program. ASME is fundamentally opposed to contracting out these jobs. This is not the solution under our contract. The city will not be able to make that happen to have a summer lesson program. The union will fight to stop contracting this program. We would hope that the city council members, especially in the election year, would not support contracting out staff jobs. Again, the solution is really simple. Work with us, not against us. Raise the lifeguards to series pay so that we are competitive with county and can hire people when we fly the positions. From my understanding, just before I got here, Los Angeles is also going to raise their hourly pay for the lifeguards too. So that's another competitor that we have to deal with too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Antonia Lupercio.
Good evening. My name is Antonia Lupercio. I live in 2219 Ransom Street in City of Commerce, of course. And my comment is, it's been several months that you have not fixed the problems that the city has been going through since the COVID-19. You are our leaders and you are in charge of our city, but have not done anything except for your own convenience. The employees, the residents have been ignored and attended. You have no idea if the department head of each department have treated the supervisors and employees equally, because you only used to first do for your friends and family of the council. While in the meantime, no one pays attention to the employees who work hard and with dedication to the community. City Council, you say that we are your eyes in the community. And we have told you that we need more hours in our branch libraries. What have you done? I'm still waiting for you. You promised to give me an answer after you spoke to the city manager, Cisneros. Well, he's gone. Why did he leave? Did you fire him for something bad? What did he do to put him out? To build those homes next to the transportation, it took a short time. How long will it going to take to renovate the library on Bandini? For how long is library going to house on the park? The employees were, for example, there are places where they didn't allow to put the cannabis business. Why not use those buildings to a learner center and leave the library in full? You approve $5 to provide lunches to the employees during the library's National Week. That is embarrassing. The employees do not deserve that. They deserve more for all the work they provide to the community. So please, do something about it. It's about time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lupercio. Ryan Gonzalez?
Hello, my name is Ryan Gonzalez, and I've proudly been a part of the Commerce community for over 20 years, serving as a lifeguard for 7 of those years in our beloved city of Commerce. Today, I stand before you not only as a representative of our dedicated lifeguard team, but also as a voice for our community's well-being. Our once vibrant community pool is facing a critical staffing crisis. This crisis isn't just about keeping the pool open, it's affecting the fabric of our community. Families miss out on recreation, children lack swim lessons, and some are forced to seek expensive outside options outside of our city, jeopardizing resident health. As I stand here, I recognize many familiar faces. Maria, a former aquatics team member who played alongside my parents. Oralia, whose son is currently in an aquatics program. Kevin and Hugo, both entrusted their children to our swim lessons. Despite familiarity with the aquatics program, the looming lifeguard and WSI shortage surfacing post-COVID remains unaddressed. It's crucial we act. As leaders of this city and members of the City Council, you hold a profound responsibility to enhance our community and safeguard its well-being. LA County has taken proactive steps to address the lifeguard shortage by increasing pay rates, a solution we urge you to adopt. Recognizing lifeguards' essential role in our community's safety and vitality, investing in us means investing in Commerce's well-being. This responsibility aligns with the city's mission statement, which you collectively created. Today, we stand before you as advocates for stability in our aquatics program, beginning with higher wages that are competitive with those offered by LA County. In 2017, I began lifeguarding at a rate of approximately $16.80 per hour, $7 more than the minimum wage and $5 more than any other lifeguarding position available. Today, new lifeguards in the City of Commerce earn $17.99 hourly, while as of January 1st, 2024, the minimum wage has risen to $16. Contrasted with LA County's lifeguards starting at roughly $24 an hour, it's difficult to recruit individuals to work at our pools. Former aquatics program members now work for the county, lured by a $3,000 signing bonus after 500 hours of work, equivalent to just one summer season. Our community seeks opportunities elsewhere, depleting our program and leaving it neglected. Join us in preserving the rich tradition of our aquatics programs, which have transformed countless lives, including mine. I invite each of you to witness the current crisis firsthand by visiting our pool and engaging with our dedicated aquatic staff. Your presence would symbolize our shared commitment to community well-being. Our plea extends beyond ourselves. It's for every child learning to swim, every family seeking respite, and every resident relying on us for their safety. I urge you to consider the gravity of our situation and the immense impact your decision will have on our community. Let's work together to ensure Commerce remains a place where every resident can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Sergio, is it Prado or? Prado. Please, come on up. Thank you.
Hello, City Council. My name is Sergio Prado. I'm a instructor guard for Brenda Villa Aquatic Center. I've been there for the last 6 years. Previously, I've been a lifeguard since 2009. For another agency, Jesse was actually one of my lifeguards, and I was the senior guard. This uniform means a lot to me. It means that we're responsible in making sure that everyone in the water is safe. And it also means that we're mentors and we're teaching them how to swim. Because of this uniform right here, I was able to get a full-time position as an aquatic technician for another agency. And I'm very grateful for this uniform right here. This is not only my career, this is my passion, and I very much love what I do. Everyone here, all my coworkers right here, have in one way taught the kids in our aquatic center. Our aquatic center is not just a regular aquatic center. Our aquatic center is very significant around our community. Our aquatic center has Olympic athletes. Who could say that? No other agency could say that. No other agency. A lot of our kids end up going to Division III and above universities for water polo. And that's not because it doesn't start off with the coaches. It starts off with lessons. It starts off with lessons. That's very significant. And I've always wanted to work here for the city. I've always wanted to work here because all of my classmates in high school were part of this community. And our wages were always above everyone else. And I'm just gonna finish off. You guys should invest in our staff. We should all be instructors. Everyone should be getting paid at minimum $28 an hour. Coaches should be at $30 an hour, and senior guards should be $32 an hour. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Prado. Jesse Hernandez.
Hello, my name is Jesse Hernandez. I have been a member of the Commerce community for over 25 years, and I am proudly serve as a lifeguard and an acting assistant swim coach for the aquatic division for Parks and Recs. I'm here today to stand up with the rest of my aquatic employees and talk about the issues we are dealing with. Not only we have a staffing crisis, but we have a pay rate problem that doesn't compete with other agencies like LA County. Once upon a time, Commerce was #1 in pay rates for lifeguards, instructors, and senior guards. So when we hear we're still top 3 or top 4, we feel like that's not good enough. When we were number one, people wanted to work here. Now we're having a hard time trying to even hire our own alums, by the way, who are applying to county. LA County has taken dramatic steps to address the lifeguard shortage by increasing pay rates, which is 33% more than us starting pay. Our most recent graduating competitive aquatic team members, 15 of them are currently employees at lifeguards at LA County, and 2 of them who are on the team right now are our lifeguards at LA County. Bell Gardens High School, who's been practicing water polo and swimming at our pool for 2 years. Athletes stopped a coworker of mine and myself and was asking about how to be a lifeguard, what tests they need to take, and after answering those questions, we asked, are you applying? Yeah, we're applying to county. We stand today to say, please take this serious. Summer is around the corner, and we need help. And the only way we can get that help is by being the model city we were once, and being better than all the neighbor cities around us, which also includes county. Make Commerce great again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Romy Cruz?
Hi, my name is Romelia Cruz, and I'm resident here with the City of Commerce. And I'm here to support the Aqua staff. I just lost my what I was going to say, but I agree with everything that has been said by your Aqua staff. They do deserve that pay increase. Even my daughter has gone to the county as a lifeguard, and she's very petite, but she was a swimmer here and water polo player here. So, you know, she got her skills and everything from here, and you have them going outside. We don't want them to go somewhere else. We love the staff that's here. We know them since they were tiny little kids. They deserve better. I know that as a union member myself, I belong to Local 537, and I am a union proudly serving my job. And I know that you can come to an agreement with the union, the city, and the union, and do that for for your staff. They deserve that and more. They've given our children many skills and opportunities with this program. So we are, a lot of the parents that are in this Aqua staff are watching. We are voters here also. We always been very supportive of you. We want to continue to be supportive of you. So I think you want to do the right thing. We want to continue to support you. And we love our community. We don't want to leave. You know, I did leave for a while, and I came back to Commerce. And, you know, please help your staff. They need this, and we need this community to continue to thrive in that pool. These kids need to get that training. They need that water safety. And if you can't provide those wages, then how are you going to bring people in? It's just the same thing that I'm reiterating what has been said. I know you can do it. My dad used to say, las palabras se las lleva el viento. So you need to put this in action. It needs to be done. Thank you.
Romy, thank you for your comments. Kevin Larson?
I'd like to start by welcoming Mr. Hernandez as our new city manager, and I hope that you can work with us to solve this issue. My name is Kevin Larson. I am a member of the executive board for ASME Local 773, City of Commerce Employees Association. As you know, I also work in the aquatic division. I'm here in solidarity today with our lifeguarding staff, which includes our lifeguards, our instructor guards, and our supervising lifeguards. The aquatics division is really in a crisis situation right now when it comes to our ability to provide programming for the residents of the City of Commerce. Right now, we should be gearing up for our summer swim lesson program. This is a vital service to the youth of this community. Every child should have the opportunity to learn how to swim. It is a life-saving skill and one of the gems of this community. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have the staffing capacity to offer swim lessons this summer. We currently have one instructor lifeguard that was going to be available this summer to teach. And they don't return from their collegiate studies until mid-June. That's the situation we're in right now. How did we get to this point? Well, it did not happen overnight. Some of it is the result of the COVID shutdown. For almost 2 years, the American Red Cross did not offer lifeguard training classes. There became a shortage nationwide of lifeguards as pools were closed, lifeguarding certs expired, and guards went and found other jobs. Coming out of COVID, the city implemented the new class and comp study, which lowered the pay for the lifeguard series. I sat at that negotiating table and argued that this would have a negative impact on our ability to hire and provide services to the community. It will be addressed later, we were told. Well, it is past later now. Our fall and spring swim lesson programs were very limited due to staffing. We had instructors, but we were not able to offer the number of classes or the upper level classes the community needs. We are now in crisis with very few options to cobble together a summer swim lesson program. The swim lesson program is so important to the overall aquatics program. The lack of swim lessons is starting to have more and more of an effect on the competitive swim and water polo programs. Swim lessons is where we recruit our athletes from. The skill of athletes joining the competitive team have degraded. We still have kids joining our teams, but they don't have the same swimming levels coming in that they had when the swim lesson program was in full force. Fortunately, there is a path forward. We have concrete proposals that we have provided to the department for both a short-term and long-term solution. In the short term, in order to allow us to put together a summer swim lesson program for the community, we have proposed allow assistant coaches to teach swim lessons. Provide 10% premium pay to lifeguards to teach swim lessons. These two measures will not solve the problem. Our coaches are gearing up for the busiest time of the coaching year coming into summer, getting ready for Junior Olympics. However, this would give us some additional staff to teach swimming lessons. Premium pay for lifeguards will also help, but we're also very limited on our lifeguarding staff. So pulling them from tower to teach will only get us so far. Longer term, we are proposing changes to solve the issue. Modify the instructor lifeguard position to remove the requirement that instructors have a year of lifeguarding experience before they can become instructors. This would allow us to hire our aquatic team members who have years of competitive swimming experience to start teaching right off the bat. The most important change we need is to raise the wages of the lifeguard series. If the city does not become competitive with county rates, we will continue to try to recruit for positions in the lifeguard series and fall short of our hiring needs. We have about 15 of our own aquatic team members that over the past year, instead of working for Commerce, as has been the norm in the past, instead have applied and are working for the county. The aquatic program is part of the heart and soul of the City of Commerce. We have athletes today and also those graduating from our program this year representing the City of Commerce as they compete at the collegiate level at UCLA, Cal Berkeley, Cal State Fresno, Cal State Fullerton, Marist College, Biola, Cal State Northridge, and UC Merced, just to name a few. This legacy needs to continue and the city needs to make the lifeguard series pay competitive so that it can continue. I'm asking the City Council direct staff to work with the union to implement our recommendations and put this item on the agenda for the next City Council meeting, and let's move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Lauren Barron.
Good evening, council members. My name is Lauren Barron. I have approached open comment plenty of times with you, always in a gratitude standpoint. I come before you, there was a speech I had with facts, but many of my coworkers have already addressed that. And I think with the pride of the city, it comes back to us being a family and visually helping one another. So literally who you see here is all the lifeguards essentially that we have to run that entire facility. I know there has been talks about just county specifically. County is receiving roughly 33% more than what we are currently being paid. I've been fortunate enough to be a lifeguard for the city for roughly 10 years, and I've had, with good fortune, other opportunities to work elsewhere, but I've chosen to come back. And that's because the program specifically has meant so much for me. I've come countless times thanking council for scholarship opportunities and having the aquatic program that gave me the opportunity to compete at the University of California at Berkeley on the women's water polo team. There has been phenomenal talent that has come out of our team, but there's also been a huge shift. I'm lucky enough that my son currently is on the aquatics program, but because of the, not overnight, but for months and months of us as staff going to the correct chain of command through management addressing this issue, it hasn't been addressed. I know I was in a position to be able to pay for my son to privately learn how to swim. That gave him the opportunity to now be on the aquatics team. But we currently are literally turning down parents and telling them that they are not able to bring their son and daughter to swim lessons. Swimming is a life skill that I think everybody should have, whether you're an adult or whether you're a kid. Currently, we are not even having enough staff to be on tower with the facility the way it's open. If I can speak as a nurse, there was a medical emergency. We should have a guard that is on break that can then go and cover the tower of the lifeguard that's providing first or possibly attending a drowning. And we're not even able to do that right now. We have coaches and even our manager that has to sit on a lifeguard tower for an hour, 2 hours at times because we do not have staff. So though it might feel like a small issue to some and not something that needs to be eagerly addressed, I ask that the new city manager as well as council be open-minded and realize that we are not coming with ill intent. We are coming in a literal crisis standpoint, and you have that golden opportunity to make change as well as show us as your constituents the promises that you were going to give to our community be put into action. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Lauren. Janelle Ocampo.
Hello, good evening. I'm also here to support our lifeguarding and instructing staff. I have been here and witnessed lifeguards, many who are here, respond to things as bruises and scrapes to unconscious victims. And so when we look at our lifeguards, I want you not to look at them as numbers, because if we were looking at them as numbers, we would learn that the average, the national average is $21. However, the high end of that is $30. So what are those cities seeing in our lifeguards that we are not? How are we not acting upon the model city that we are, right? We see the lifeguards during the pandemic not only become newly trained to support its constituents before they even enter the water so that we can return to a sense of normalcy that we had before the pandemic. They took on these new challenges, they took on these great new skills, and they implemented them all with a great big smile. And we were able to return to a sense of normalcy thanks to them. Because of them, we're able to continue in the lessons that we benefit from on a daily basis. So today, I not only ask that you support their increase in salary, but also help support the instructing component of that as well. The instructors are responsible for creating a program that has proven to be extremely successful in getting many students into college. as we move forward here, many of these students are high school students. High schools are now moving into testing for swimming competency. They will not be allowed to graduate from high school in the next couple of years if they are not capable of passing a swim test. So what are we going to do as a community to help foster those skills so that they can graduate from high school? These are things that we're not looking ahead on, but I would like for you to consider when you are going back to the drawing board and maybe perhaps seeing how you can hire more instructors, increase their salaries. And yeah, in years past, this was a city to work for, and it still can be. We've bounced back from some little bumps on the road, and we're doing it with a great big stride and with a big smile. And this is, I think, another area that we're going to be able to move forward with. So I just, the instruction has allowed many of our athletes who have weak areas and or students who have some disabilities be able to participate in a sport with the utmost confidence and skill. And taking that away would be a detriment to those athletes and students. So thank you for your time. And I don't ask for a specific number. I just ask you that you challenge yourselves in really giving them what they deserve, because they've put in their time, their effort, and their commitment to our community.
Thank you. Ms. Ocampo, thank you for your comments. And I have Gloria Nesahualcóyotl.
Buenas tardes. Primero lo bueno. Gracias a la sargento por las flores que nos trajo el Día de las Madres al Senior Center, y gracias por la concejal Rebolla por el desayuno que nos dio sobre el Día de las Madres. Y a usted buena suerte y ojalá que le vaya bien. Okay. Educate, empower, and advocate is a slogan currently being used by neighboring cities to increase civic awareness. You have empowered your commissioners to represent you and your ideas, but you have failed to educate them. Therefore, by their actions, their advocacy is not towards the residents of our city. Our entitlements, remember that word, are not currently being used to benefit residents as set in the senior club bylaws. Current leadership, which are your commissioners, are running the clubs as civic organizations, not taking into consideration that senior clubs are being sponsored and subsidized by city funds, therefore subject to approved and registered bylaws. The current spending, as of right now, is probably going to be about $250,000 by the end of the year. Being used in transportations for city buses to casinos and some other places. And it's a lot of money that could be being used to subsidize these people. These workers, they've been here forever and they don't leave the city, waiting for you to do something about them. So you should take a closer look at clubs, bylaws, and subsidies to make sure the clubs are running correctly and the city funds are being used appropriately. If not, please announce every civic organization has the same rights and the same privilege as the current clubs being run through the senior center. So please use your money wisely. We need them. We need all these people to stay with us, and we need to continue the pool program since this is what the City of Commerce is known for. You ruin their program, there goes City of Commerce. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nesahualcóyotl. And Nancy Reynolds.
Hello, my name is Nancy. I have 3 kids. 2 of them are currently in the aquatics program. I first want to welcome our new city manager and thank you to everyone that's here for all that you do to run the city. Pool time is how children learn to interact with water and learn what their bodies can and can't do in it. Many times we as parents depend on floaties, life jackets, puddle jumpers, which give our kids a false sense of security and think at many times that without them, they can still swim safely. Unfortunately, every year in the US, there are 4,000 fatal, unintentional drownings, which averages out to 11 per day, and 8,000 non-fatal drownings at 22 per day. Drowning is the #1 reason why a child may not make it to kindergarten. Now, minorities drown at 3 times a higher rate than their peers. That's us. That's our Commerce community. You have been pioneers for years at helping with those stats in our area, but currently with the lack of a true competitive rate, we don't have enough instructors. This isn't just about water polo and competitive swimming, which I love, but this comes down to safety, and it comes down to saving lives. We currently have many alumni working or planning to work for LA County instead of the tradition of coming back to Commerce. They're the ones that are enjoying the fruits of the labor put into these kids. It's at least a $5 difference per hour, and I can't blame them for leaving. There have been less and less class times offered where I had to take my own daughter to a county park because their schedule worked out better. Currently, my son's pre-comp class is being done with the instructor out of the water. I'm assuming so they can teach, watch, and guard the kids all at the same time. We ask that you please make this something urgent in your budget or to-do list before we lose the few that we still have. Thank you, and thank you for listening to us.
Thank you, Ms. Reynolds, for your comments. Thank all of you for all of your comments that you have made. And obviously, I stated earlier that this item is not on the agenda, so therefore, we really can't address it directly, but I made a lot of notes. There's record of it. The city clerk, the meeting's recorded. We'll take a look at it. Our new city manager is very much aware of the problem, and he did formulate a response, which he'll address right now. But I just want to let you guys know that you guys know each of us up here. We've been here for many years now, I think, and we have 2 new council members here, but all of us are very much, what's important to each of us is, doing the right thing for our community, making sure we got this community through COVID-19, restoring a lot of our programming and services for our city. We've been trying to do it in a way that has been responsible. We want to be responsible to ensure that, there was a lot of other issues that we've had to look at, making sure that in working with our finance folks and looking at the future of things, there's a lot of instability out there, this looming, economic downturn, a lot of different factors that we've had to look at. And part of it was we wanted to be prudent and we wanted to make sure that we were responsible in restoring and getting things back to the levels where they were. And I think for the most part, we have done some of that. We thank you for coming, addressing this problem, and I know that we have a new leader here that'll lead us, I believe, through this. He'll take a look at it, and I believe that he'll go ahead and make a comment at this time, but I assure you, we all heard you. We will most definitely address this and give him an opportunity to take a look at this and also bring something that we can address. We'll talk to our Parks and Recreation Director. We'll work with our new city manager. And of course, I'm positive that they will bring something forward to us in resolving this issue. The other part that I wanted to address to you is that, yes, we've had a change in leadership with our city manager. And part of that change is that there's a couple of things that, that haven't been taken care of, weren't addressed. And we're trying to address some of those things now. One of the areas that we've had a problem in has been in our Human Resources Department. We've tried to fill a lot of the positions, and I know our staff is working diligently to try to do that. I believe not even a month ago, our council member, Kevin Linus, had an item on the agenda related to some of the positions that haven't been filled, and they've been working to try to fill some of those positions. Some of those positions are the very positions that you're talking about and are concerned with. But give our new city manager the opportunity to address it. We know it's a priority, and it's a priority to you, and it's a priority to us, and we will get it right. So thank you for your comments, and at this time, we'll have our city manager address a quick response related to this matter. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As you said, this is not an agendized item, so I'm going to be considerate of that and simply say that I am getting up to speed on the issue. We will work closely with the labor organization to find a resolution that works for everybody. But I would be remiss to not point out the fact that the City Council has made a significant commitment to the aquatic program, and so it's about finding balance with all the city services that we do provide. But I do appreciate the comments. I didn't know how far back these issues went, so I look forward to learning more and coming up with a resolution that, again, is in the best interest of the community.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming. I know, again, it's important to you and it's important to us, and we will get it right. At this time, we're going to move to consent calendar. And under the consent calendar, we have items, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gosh, I think everything's under consent.
Mr.
Wow.
Mayor, the item 13 will be pulled, like was requested by staff to be pulled. Number
3
13.
through 17. Okay, that would be our consent calendar. What item are we pulling?
Number 13.
13? Okay. So 3 through 17, with the exception of number 13, is being pulled.
I
okay?
move to approve with the exception of pulling item number 13.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'm sorry, I actually would like to pull item number 7,
Number 7.
if we could, just very briefly.
I'll move
Sure.
to approve with pulling number 7 and 13.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any objections? Seeing none, motion is approved. And at this time, we'll go ahead and move to item number 7. Councilmember Linus, you had a question?
Yeah, no real issues with the completion of the project. I do see everything implemented. I just wanted a consideration as it relates to the signs, obviously there may come a time where we'll need to replace signs here and there if they're subject to vandalism or for whatever reason. But one consideration that I would make, and I would ask you to make, is if we could replace the signs without the white accent in the background, just have them solid dark green. And I only say that because I think the white accent in the background impacts the readability of the wayfinding signs. Also, driving around at night, that white accent, it looks to be reflective, so it actually kind of blocks the lettering just a little bit. So, we don't have to change whatever's implemented now, but as we replace signs moving forward, that's just a consideration that I would like to see made.
Noted. Thank you.
Councilmember Linus, thank you for your comments. Is there any additional comments? Just to follow up, I kind of noted some of what you noted, and I did bring it up to our acting city manager at the time. But I know that, this has been we've been waiting for this for a period of time. And I was a little disappointed myself with the signage, because in looking and driving in some areas, it was hard to read them. So I concur with some of the comments that he made. So, and I know that it's already done. They're already out there. So I'm glad they're out there. We hope that they're helpful in guiding people that come to the city or, are looking for the different, finding their way through our community. But yeah, in the future, I concur with your comments. If we can do something that's a little bit more visible, I think would be probably a little more appropriate for everybody. So yeah, those are the only comments that I have. If there's no additional comments, a motion on this particular item would be in order. And let me go to item number 7 here. I believe the recommendation is the city council will consider adopting a resolution accepting the citywide finding vehicular directional signs project as complete, authorizing staff to file the notice of completion with the county's recorder's office, and authorizing release of the 5% retention per contract provisions.
Mayor, I'll move per the recommendation in the staff report.
Thank you.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any objections? If there isn't any, motion is approved. Thank you. And under item number 13, were we just pulling that, or are we having a report on this?
Yeah, it will be continued to the next
Will be
meeting.
continued to the next meeting, okay. Thank you. 13 will be continued. So that takes us to scheduled matters, and we'll start with item number 18, and that'll be a report from our Sheriff's Department of Public Safety in the City of Commerce. Sergeant Duarte, please.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I will be making a presentation regarding the City of Commerce. On the first slide, you will see stats that were from March 31st to April 13. This is that heat map of the area. You could see where a lot of the crimes are occurring, what day of the week we have a lot of crime occurring, which we have 3 dates that were the same, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. In addition, we have the day of counts when people are reporting these crimes, when these incidents occur. You could see that it's early morning hours, the highest, which is about 4 in the morning. And then we have 4 rows that are 11, 5 o'clock, 6, and then 9 o'clock at night. On the next slide, we'll find the most up-to-date heat map for the City of Commerce, which is from April 14 to April 27th. If you recall, the previous map had a lot more heat source than this second one. And this one, the day of week that counts the highest we have is on Thursday with 13 of them. And the area with the highest crime count is still going to be the Citadel area. And the time of day counts that has the highest one is going to be at 3 p.m. So this one was different than the previous week. In addition, we'll go to the Commerce monthly stats. So from May 1st until May 11th, we have 1 assault, aggravated assault. We have no robberies. We have 1 burglary. We have 29 other thefts. We have 13 auto thefts, and we don't have any arsons. On the next slide, I will go over Commerce ASAO activities. Deputies conducted a homeless cleanup operation behind Os's property and Comstock property, which most of you likely know. It's a very homeless area with a lot of issues. 3 individuals were arrested for narcotic-related charges at the location. During this operation, we reached out to California Highway Patrol, in addition to Caltrans, to assist us in cleaning up the debris and the trash out of that area. In addition, we also conducted an additional homeless cleanup in numerous locations throughout the City of Commerce with Ocean Blue and the City of Commerce Public Works for the smaller locations. We got to meet with the Commerce Center, which we know obviously a lot of crime has been taking place, to discuss and address issues regarding the Woody Boulevard that are unfortunately being taken into our Commerce Center, affecting the City of Commerce. We assisted a business with the homeless encampment in private property, providing them a letter of agency, giving us the opportunity to arrest anyone that trespasses their private property. We got the opportunity to participate in the Senior Mother's Day event by handing out carnations to the attendees at the event. I was gladly able to present flock cameras and safety preparation for a protest scheduled at the Citadel regarding the Smart and Final, which is coming up this Friday. Citadel deputies also participated in a child safety event at Old Navy. With the assistance of council, and they're providing us 20 cameras. I'm glad to report that using those cameras, we had a total of 6 stolen vehicles recovered, 4 arrests made, and that's from May 1st to May 11th. In addition, a vehicle that was being looked by Los Angeles Police Department, Southeast Division, in regards to a robbery in their jurisdiction, was taken into custody, and the suspect was arrested. Arrests from May 1st through the 11th are 14 misdemeanor arrests and 6 felony arrests. On the next slide, I will show some of the photographs that are from behind Aussie's location that we got to clean up. You will see, and I will have after photographs and some minor locations where we also got Public Works to assist us. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So the smaller, the mixed master, don't want to have a tent and a canopy in the middle. With the assistance of Public Works, we called them out. It was unoccupied, and they were able to pick up and dispose of the items. So this is just a few of the photographs. There's a lot of photographs I could show. The bottom ones are the clean from how it was to how it is now. We're gladly that we got to work with Caltrans and CHP to assist us in cleaning that location. That concludes my presentations, if there's any questions.
Thank you, Sergeant Duarte. Is there any comments or questions? Council? Seeing none, thank you. We appreciate your report, and thank you once again for the great work you guys continue to do out there. We appreciate your reporting on, the different activities that you do, not only the crime statistics, but also showing us some of the different activities that you're involved in, and not only telling us about it, but showing us the actual results of the good work you guys are doing out there, and the collaboration with the different groups that you're working with, whether it's our city, staff, and other organizations that are working with you. So thank you again. Appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Be safe out there. Okay, item number 19. This is the Greenwood Avenue and Watcher Street Roundabout Project. Lena,
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, good
Gina.
evening. We are here this evening due to a request from City Council to study this particular intersection in Greenwood and Watcher as to some past experiences with some traffic safety issues that are occurring there. This evening, you'll be receiving and filing a presentation by KOA Corporation, who has been hired to look at this particular intersection. I'll come back to the recommendation after the presentation. I'd like to introduce Min Zhou.
Good evening, mayors, council members. My name is Min Zhou, principal engineer from KOA Corporation. We are retained by City of Commerce to conduct the feasibility study for roundabout at the intersection of Greenwood and Watcher Street. So the purpose of my presentation is to, first of all, address the traffic speeding issue at the location. I will present a roundabout pilot project. I will also show you an example of how to transform a pilot roundabout into a permanent roundabout implementation. First, let's look at the existing condition of this location. So the intersection is located about 240 feet south of the railroad track. As you can see, the intersection has always stop control. All approaches have stop control, stop signs. And along I'll go back to the first page. Along Greenwood, there are 2 lanes each direction. And we also conducted daily traffic volume count. As you can see, the volume along Greenwood is not very high. It's about less than 5,000 vehicles per day. Along Watcher, the volume is much lower. It's less than 800 vehicles per day. And then also, surprisingly, the truck percentage actually is pretty low here. It's only about 4%. And we know there are complaints about the intersection. The complaint is that people ignore the stop sign. People try to speed up through the intersection, which created a hazard situation for local residents, for motorists, and also for pedestrians and bicyclists. So we are tasked to evaluate the roundabout as an option to improve the safety and provide traffic calming measures for this location. So our conclusion is that the roundabout is feasible for this location. As you may know, roundabout, especially the modern urban compact one-lane roundabout, is an innovative traffic calming measure. So it has an approved safety benefit. As you can see, by implementing the curb extension, it will slow down vehicle before they enter the roundabout. And because of the circular movement, vehicle has to go through the roundabout slowly. But what I want to say is this: the most significant safety benefit of a roundabout is that because it avoids the kill zone or maybe head-on conflict, the injury, severe injury and fatal accident can be avoided through implemented roundabouts. As also you can see, because the curb extension, the pedestrian crosswalk has been shortened. So it has a great safety benefit for pedestrians and bicyclists. So our recommendation is to implement a roundabout, a pilot roundabout at this location. What that means is that we are not going to take away any right-of-way. We are going to avoid all the catch basin locations. And then the implementation will be mostly signing and striping with some removable materials, for example, the delineators, removable delineators, and temporary or rubber style of curb ramp for ADA compliance. So, yeah, so I just want to show you the existing condition. As you can see, currently the roadway is very wide. No wonder people try to speed through the location. But if you can look at the next slide, if you look at the next slide, this is the, move back. So this is the rendering we put together. You can see the pilot implementation of this roundabout. We use the signing and striping, the pavement marking to show the crosswalk, and then we use the removable material for the center island, and we also use short delineator to form the curb extension and use the material for the rubber material or maybe a wood platform for the curb ramp in order to meet the ADA compliance. So this is what we propose for this location as a pilot roundabout. Next, please. So the construction cost of the pilot roundabout is actually very reasonable. It's $120,000. And then the most benefit of pilot study or pilot implementation is that we can implement the roundabout within a very short time. We believe we can complete the design and implementation within 2024. Next, please. Next slide.
What's the time frame for implementation? I'm sorry.
So we'll be within a few months,
Okay.
yeah, including the design. So I also want to show you an example how a pilot roundabout can be transformed into a permanent roundabout if City of Commerce wish to do that. So this is a location it's a stop-controlled intersection in City of Long Beach. As you can see, back in 2017, this is the intersection, how the intersection looks like. Next slide, please. So between 2017 to 2019, they implemented this pilot roundabout. Basically, is a signing, striping, pavement marking with some delineator, and then the center island also is using removable materials. One of the important benefit of a pilot study is that allow local residents, allow stakeholders to test out those innovative countermeasures. Give them time to get used to this type of treatment. Next slide, please. So since 2019, City of Long Beach implemented the permanent roundabout at this location. As you can see, the center island implemented curbs, pavers, along with the landscape. And then the curb extension has a concrete pad, and then the crosswalk has the permanent concrete with ADA compliant curb ramps. With that, conclude my presentation. I can take any questions you may have. Thank you.
City Council, any comments, questions?
I do.
Councilmember Rebollo?
First of all, thank you so much. I know that this has been an issue in that community for quite some time. I know Councilmember Lainez and I have spoken to various residents, specifically in those four corners, who were very concerned about, you know, the doing donuts, the speeding. You know, we have a bus stop that's right, school bus stop that's right in one of those corners. So I know that this particular intersection was a concern, a safety concern. But that doesn't mean that there aren't others in the City of Commerce. So I do want the community to understand that we are looking at all of the areas of concern, right? But we're going to pilot this program and see how this works. Because as is customary here, when we implement something, right, there's going to be positive and negative, and we want to make sure that that this is something that is good for the community. My concern might be just my lack of knowledge, but I did. Can you go back to where it's showing the pedestrian crossing for us? I was a little concerned, and maybe it was because I wasn't understanding it correctly. Just as it relates to pedestrians, right? When someone is going into the roundabout, like how visible is a pedestrian in that crosswalk? But you're saying in other cities, like, I guess what's the I don't even know how to ask the question, but my concern was just the visibility of the pedestrians at night in that in that particular area. And I know I shared it with the mayor, right? The fact that it's the lighting is not the greatest there. So now in my mind, I'm just thinking we're implementing something new in that community. What is the likelihood that somebody going around that turn is going to see a pedestrian, right? Is there like reflectors? Is there a way? And I know this will up the cost, and I'm probably not gonna appease a lot of people. Some of you are gonna be mad at me for saying this, but I don't know if we are able to do those the lights that are on the floor, the way we have it here crossing the street into the school. I think that was my biggest concern, is the pedestrians crossing the street, especially since it's something that's new. I think that it's gonna definitely deter racing going on there, deter them from doing those donuts. But now my concern is just, and maybe it's just a matter of because it's new and this is not something that I'm used to. Is there a concern for pedestrians?
Actually, the roundabout will improve the pedestrian safety
Mhm.
because it will be shortened. The crosswalk
Okay.
will be shortened. Right? Without the curb extension, the crosswalk is much longer. Will take much longer for people to cross.
Okay.
Another way to improve the safety is to implement a high visible crosswalk.
Okay.
So right now, we're trying to implement the ladder style crosswalk. I think you talk about the visibility at night. I think the street light, the intersection lighting is very important for pedestrian safety. For this particular location, I think we can look into the pavement marking to see how we can improve the crosswalk reflectivity at night. But in terms of the street light, I believe the intersection has a street light at that.
There is no street light at this intersection. That's why I'm posing that concern, right? And that's why I wanted to hear what are our options as it pertains to the visibility of the pedestrians crossing the street.
Yes, I would recommend that we have a separate consultant, as council is aware, working on the citywide lighting master plan, and that we look at this particular intersection and anything that we can do as part of those recommendations and maybe align it with anything else that council wants to do at this intersection.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on, you mentioned something about, what did you say about the crossing, the lifted or something? What did you say about the high visibility? What does that pertain? I'm sorry, can you speak to the mic just because we have people watching online?
What I mean high visibility crosswalk is really the striping, the style of the striping.
Okay.
I know there are in-ground reflector, but there are some pros and cons for that.
And what are they?
It's the maintenance issue of those in-ground flashers. You can implement them, and you can also powered by solar, right? But can be useful for some times, and then you have to have another maintenance issue.
That's the biggest issue, maintenance?
Yeah, so you have to replace it.
Okay.
Yeah, if I may,
Thank you.
so to the point of the engineer, so they have both reflector and they have both the solar ones.
Okay.
I think ultimately, because this is the pilot program and you want to be able to, frankly, remove it if it's not satisfying
You're right.
the community's needs, you would just use the high reflective temporary, I don't know what they're called, but, and then there's actually crosswalk paint that's also has
Okay.
that same reflection. And I think the point is the pilot program to be monitored, and I think you will hear from the community whether or not it's working for them.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to remove all of it, like it never happened, frankly,
Yeah.
if it's not going in a direction. And if it becomes a more permanent situation, then you can talk about not only permanent lighting, but also even the roundabout itself, putting some landscaping, different options, but those are more after you've evaluated for a period of time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for that. Thank you both.
Thank you.
All three of you.
Councilmember Linus, you had a question, and I'll follow up with you, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. So thank you for the presentation. I was just curious as to how we would measure the success of the pilot program. Is it simply through community feedback? Is there going to be like a data or analytical type of review?
Yeah, I think community feedback definitely is one of the measures. Another measure is to looking into the speed, right? Before, after speed study. So you can do radar survey for before and after. Another measure is really to look into the collision data before, after.
I think we want to approach this in a positive manner and look at it as basically a speed test would be the best appropriate manner, because it would tell you the before and it would tell you the after, and if it's accomplishing what you're trying to do, which is slow down traffic. I don't want to belittle the collision test, but obviously that's something we're trying to avoid.
Right. Right. I think that totally makes sense. I think, for the speed study, we would likely do it over the course of a long period of time, right? Not like a 1 day or 3 day study where we're looking at least a week minimum. And I only ask that because of different calendar days and different times. Just accounting for each of the days of the week.
Normally, the study will be a so-called pointer study. So you identify a location, you test it for 100 times, and then you get the average value of that speed. But the location of where you take the speed, it could be right before the intersection, right before you enter the roundabout, or within the roundabout, or maybe on the different approach of the roundabout.
Yeah, I think, and that's fine. I just think that, sometimes, different days of the week may be more conducive to more reckless driving, like let's say on the weekends, for example, right? As opposed to a Monday or Tuesday. And I just want to make sure that we're accounting for a large enough sample so that we feel good about whatever conclusions we draw.
Yes, I think that's something we can look into it, yeah.
So if we can look into that, and if we can apply the study in that fashion, that's what I would like to see. Yeah.
Great. Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you. Great idea, Kevin. My concern is, we were out there for the community night watch, and I think that's the title. And there's a lot of concerns with the speeding of the area. But my concern is there 2 lanes there now? Will it become 1 lane eventually?
Yes, yes.
So how far back would the 1 lane start?
So you have to have a taper transition length based on the calculations based on your current speed. So when we do right now it's concept design, but when we do the actual design, we'll have to look into that transition length. So we'll be 2 lane transition into 1 lane before enter the roundabout. Within the roundabout, only 1 lane.
So from the light, which is, what would that be, Slauson?
Yeah.
That'd be Slauson. From Slauson to Agra Street. I think I'm saying the right streets here.
So on the
That's very short
distance.
distance.
North leg, actually, you can look at the previous slide. Yeah. Okay, so go one more slide. Okay. So for the north leg, the restriction is the railroad crossing. It's about 240 feet south of a railroad track. So what we plan to do is the taper will start south of the railroad track. Okay. So that should give us enough space, enough transition lengths to transition the 2 lane into 1 lane.
Okay. That's my question. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
I have other questions, but so since it's going to start south of the railroad, are we going to have to do anything with the railroad to ensure the safety if there's now traffic backup because of the merge?
Yeah, so we did some analysis based on the volume, based on especially the peak hour volume. It won't have any backup all the way to the railroad track.
Mm-hmm.
The 240 feet is adequate to implement that roundabout.
Okay, thank you. Can you go to the slide that shows the roundabout? So, yeah, one of my concerns is just that these are 4 corner homes. So if we move forward with this and it works, and we're gonna keep it there permanently, what's gonna happen to that corner to ensure the safety of those 4 homes? And also the poles that are there, I mean, I would like to see something enhanced. I mean, I like to bring art into this, so I'm not sure what we can put that will be safe, but also pleasing to the eye. And it'll also give us an opportunity to, in the middle of the roundabout, to create some sort of monument or piece of art in the middle of it. That way, moving forward, each project we do, we can start to implement art into our community.
So if I may, I think that's similar to Councilmember Arroyo's comment about if this becomes a permanent mitigation measure for that neighborhood, then you would have those conversations, right? And obviously, the bollards that are shown in the illustrations are, I mean, they're safe, but essentially they're temporary in nature. You would do something, to your point, if you wanted something more aesthetic, and I'm not suggesting this is what you would do, but for example, Target went with the big ball kind of bollards, right? They accomplished the same thing, but it obviously is more pleasing to the eye. So you would have kind of that analysis and that discussion at the dais about what you would want that to permanently look like. So I think based on some of the conversations from the city council and waiting to hear what the mayor has to say, but we probably would do a community survey after an appropriate period of time, talking to the engineers, along with obviously the speed test.
Is that satisfactory?
Yeah.
Comment? Thank you. Thank you for the different questions that have been raised. I have a couple of questions. You mentioned that the cost was $120K, and that's for the temporary design and implementation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If we decide that this does not work, what is the cost for removal and restoring it back to what it was?
I don't have the actual number, but I will say it won't be significant because it's basically pavement marking, signage, and just remove of the removable item like the shore delineator. So it won't be significant.
Okay, but you don't know what that cost will be. Let me ask another question, and I want to know what the cost would be. Does the $120K include the different analysis or suggestions that were just made, which I think are great, because we do want to be able to measure and know that if we want to move forward, we want to know that this is working, this is successful, it's delivering the intended, what we want to get out of this. So I want to know if it includes those studies.
No, that's not in that 120K is the estimation for the construction. Actually, I think the design fee is additional, but for the study, the speed study, that was not included in the original.
Okay,
cost
so that's a
estimate.
separate additional cost after we do the temporary implementation. I hope that this works. I believe that the council's in a position to want to move forward and try this on a pilot, as a pilot, and see if it works for us. I know that there's been other problems in other cities where this has been implemented, and they basically just go around the circle now. Now they race around it. And that's something that's happened in other areas. But I'm hoping that this works here. I hope that doesn't become that issue here. I hope it's successful, because if it works, then we can obviously, look at other problematic areas and try to implement something like this. I just get concerned. Number one, I have a couple of concerns. One, it becomes something like this where they just now view it as an area to race around this thing. I hope that doesn't happen. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen, and hopefully we can move forward. But the other concerns I have is with the added cost. We recently implemented, we did Eastern, right, not far from here, and we kind of made it into one lane. It was 2 lanes, and we took away right of way to implement some bike routes, and bottom line is it's been problematic for the community, I think, and we've been trying to get this done, and it's been taking, it's been a good 8 months, probably more. We've appropriated the funding to get it undone, and it's become even more expensive than actually doing the work to begin with, I believe. And, you know, it's just a problem for us. I mean, so for me, I get concerned when we start taking away, already our community has a big problem with congestion in general, congestion in our community, and when we start taking away right-of-way of what we have, then it could increase other problems. And one of them was pointed out related to the rail spur that's there. Obviously, when there is rail going through there, and it is an active spur there. So, you know, when we do have some rail going through there, obviously it's going to back things up a little bit, and I envision it going to the other side. But we may still have that problem anyways. You know, it depends on how long that train is there, and, you know, it probably backs up some of that traffic. So in either case, it would probably still affect that. But those are the different issues that I have some concerns with, and obviously the escalating cost if this doesn't work for us. But I'm okay with moving forward and trying it as a pilot, and I'm hoping that it succeeds, it works, and we can move forward, and if it does work, we can implement it in other areas. I particularly like my colleagues' suggestions once we obviously make a final determination on this in terms of implementing some of the arts into this type of design, which I think could look fabulous, including some of the artwork on the crosswalks that we looked at in the past. You know, I think would be this would be an ideal place to introduce some of that. So I like the discussion. I'm okay with moving forward and doing a pilot, and but I just want us to be aware of the additional cost, and I would hope that we can react and respond quickly in the event that this does not succeed, and we need to revert back to, you know, undoing this and, you know, maybe pursuing the speed humps, which I know that initially it was attempted, but we were one signature short, I believe, which I firmly believe we could have easily walked through that, and I volunteered to do it. But any one of us, I think, if we all committed to doing that, we probably could get that signature. I don't see a problem in us getting that additional signature. But I'm open to it, guys. Those are my comments. And if there's no additional comments or questions, what would be the order on this particular item? The recommendation, just to remind you all, is the City Council will consider receiving a filing presentation on the Greenwood Avenue and Watcher Street Roundabout Project Concept Plan by KOA Corporation. And number 2, adopting a resolution approving the roundabout concept plan for the Greenwood Avenue and Watcher Street Roundabout Pilot Project, authorizing preparation of the plan, specification, and estimate, PS&E, and allocating Measure AA funds to cover the pilot roundabout project. Those are the items before us. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve on what the mayor just read.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you all. And thank you, Ms. Joe? Is it Zoe or Joe? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yes, go ahead. Okay, now we're on item number 20, award of construction contract to Vido Zamarzic. Did I get that right?
Good enough, it's probably what I would say.
All right, I don't know. I'm just guessing here. Or
right,
Vido Zamarzic, Inc. for the Pathways for Hope Project, Clean California Cycle 1 grant.
Yes.
Please, Gina.
We have been talking about Pathways for Hope for a while, so it's
Yes,
nice
we
to
have.
get to this point. I would like to just go over a little background, and then what the project is going to do for the city. So among the background, in March of 2022 is when the city was awarded just over $4.9 million in a Clean California local grant. As part of that monies, $411,000 was set aside for some mural artwork. In March of 23, city awarded a design contract agreement to RJM Design Group. And in December of 23, City Council approved their concept plan. March of 24, project was advertised for construction bidding, and we received 3 bids. The lowest responsible bidder is Vito Zamarzic Incorporated for just over, or just under, I should say, $4.3 million for construction. So, to go over some of the improvements, with Rosewood Park, there are 3 facilities that is going to improve the Bandini, Rosewood, and Bristow neighborhoods. With regard to Rosewood Park, the improvements would include new walking paths using decomposed granite around the ball field and open grass area next to City Hall. New pathway lighting, new landscape, trees, shrubs, ground cover, and new seating areas throughout the pathways. For Bandini Park, the improvements would include new pedestrian entrance with shade trellis, new paver area from the entrance to around one side of the wading pool, which is in the diagram to your right, the reddish colored area. New landscaping, trees, shrubs, and ground cover. Refurbished walking path from the entrance around the ball field towards the basketball courts. New pathway lighting and new seating areas near the wading pool. For the Leona's pedestrian walkway, there's going to be quite a few changes there. The improvements would include a new street and sidewalk alignment to increase walking pathway areas to the I-710 freeway underpass, removal of asphalt median currently there, upgraded lighting in the underpass, refurbished fence along the embankment of the Caltrans property, and general cleanup. New landscaping, which would include trees, shrubs, ground cover, and added parking stalls, which is very unique that we get to add parking here. And it would include 4 regular parking stalls and 1 for ADA. With regard to Bristow Park, the improvements would include new walking paths of DG, decomposed granite, with a garden in a rear corner of the property, new pathway lighting, new pedestrian entrance with pavers and shade trees. Landscaping would include trees, shrubs, and ground cover. Facility improvements to be addressed separately. Now, Bristow Park has several projects going on, so the design of the building and facility improvements for the building would be a separate project from this one. And there would also be new seating areas throughout the project at Bristow Park as well. Just talk a little bit about the cost. Summarized here, the bid amount to be awarded would be just under $4.3 million, as noted here, plus the contingencies of 10%, and construction management and inspection services comes up to just under $5.2 million of a total project cost. Now, we have a funding source. We got that $4.9 million grant. However, we do need to back out of it the $411 for the murals set aside from that grant. And we do need to back out all the design costs and associated costs related to design that has been spent. And that leaves us with this $3.9 million available for the infrastructure, this construction agreement. If we were to do the entire project as proposed and designed and approved by council, we would have a just over $1.2 million shortfall, and staff would be asking as part of the recommendations this evening that council approve an additional allocation from Measure AA to the already existing account there listed. The staff recommendation would be to adopt a resolution, and I won't read through all of that. However, I will just highlight that if adopting this resolution, you would be approving the plans and specs for the Pathways for Hope project. You would be waiving any non-material errors in the bid and award construction contract to Vito Zamarich. This would be including all base bids, all additives. That would be the total project as proposed, as designed and approved by council, and authorize up to a 10% of the construction contract for construction contingencies. Authorize an additional 10% for construction management inspection services, and authorize Transtech engineers to proceed with construction management inspection services pursuant to their existing on-call consultant services agreement, and allocation of that $1.2 million for, from Measure AA for the additional appropriation needed to complete this project. That concludes my report.
Gina, can you take us back to that previous slide there?
Absolutely, this
If you don't
or
mind
one
explaining
back.
option number 2 there,
I'm
at the
sorry.
end, the last slide. Just go over that again. Waive any non-material errors in
Yes.
explain
There
that.
was, in the bid analysis, we noticed that there was about $5,000 in calculation errors on the contractor's side. It did not affect anything that was material. We passed it through legal counsel. Legal counsel agreed that it was not anything that was a material, so we were able to proceed. We had the 3 bids, and they are still, even with the calculation error, the lowest bidder, significantly lower. The next lowest bid is 4.9 million versus their 4.29.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure of what we were waiving.
Certainly.
So we're, okay, I'm clear. Okay, is there any comments, questions, council? Is everybody okay? Is there, yes?
Quick one.
Vice Mayor?
Gina, is there a possibility, instead of the DP on the roads, is there a possibility where we can put smaller, like crushed pebbles that, I mean, I know that the DP would require a lot of maintenance to keep.
The decomposed granite?
Yes.
That is what was designed, that is what was approved. Pavers would be entirely a different design and cost.
Yeah, what about like crushed pebbles, smaller pebbles, something that's not going to eventually start to turn into like mud, you know, because I know you have to compress it, you have to do many things to maintain it. So instead of spending costs in the future with maintenance and then replacing the DP for new and compressing it all over again, what if we just get a cost for some crushed pebbles or smaller pebbles that we can use?
Okay, so, one, the DG does require maintenance, everything would. It doesn't necessarily turn into mud, but it would every couple of years require a compaction a little bit and an adding of some DG and some compaction. So we will be doing some maintenance. There is one pathway at Bandini that has been there for many, many years. It's just needing another layer and recompaction. So it is long-lasting, and at this point, because this is the approved contract and budget, and we're under a very strict timeline because it's a Caltrans grant, I would recommend that we proceed with the approved design as is, and if maybe in the future, council would like to reconsider that sometime in the future, perhaps that's something that could be considered then, if city manager agrees.
City
Yeah,
manager?
Honorable Mayor, Member City Council, so the real, I think, dilemma with changing the scope of that nature is this is a public works contract and it was put out in a certain manner, right? And so it was bid in that manner by the different vendors, and there could be an argument that it could change the scope of the bids that would have come in given that kind of change. And so I think we can move forward and we'll evaluate it, and if it's within, I don't know that it will be, frankly, but if it's within the set-aside dollars for change orders, we can bring that specific just for consideration to City Council, but still move the project forward.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, I like the DP material, but I do know that when it gets wet, then sometimes you can't walk on it. You have to wait till it dries up. And
We are leaving the existing concrete walkways, so there will be different walkways that people can choose to use. If they want more of a natural path, if they choose the DG. If they want to, continue on the one that they're currently using, the concrete, that will always be available.
Okay, yeah, if we could take a look at that, that'll be fine, and I'll be okay with moving forward.
Okay, Vice Mayor, thank you. If there's no additional comments or questions, our motion would be in order, and in front of you have options 1 and 2. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong item here. Let me change over here. There it is. Yeah, so the recommendation is before you. The City Council will consider adopting a resolution approving plans and specifications waiving the non-material irregularities in the Vito Zamarich Inc.'s bid, awarding a construction contract to Vito Zamarich, Inc., the lowest responsible and responsive bidder for the Pathways for Hope project, allocating additional funds to cover the total project cost shortfall and approving construction management and inspection services by Transtech Engineers, Inc. under their on-call professional consulting services agreement.
Mayor, I'll move to approve per the recommendation in this item's staff report.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you. And at this time, we'll move to item number 21.
Mayor, I would like to either table or continue this item. I have multiple questions, and I would like to have ample time to be able to take a look at it and come to staff with it.
Is there any objections? Seeing none, so ordered. We'll continue item number 21 at this time.
Thank you.
And we'll move to item number 22, implementation agreement with Gateway Cities Council of Governments for Slauson Avenue Complete Street Study.
Okay.
Gina.
This is a brief verbal report. The Gateway Council of Governments approached the city to discuss their strategic transportation plan, which includes a master plan for arterial highways chapter that includes complete streets concepts. The one in particular that they are interested in is the Slauson Corridor as a high-quality transit and east-west travel corridor. The total of 12.34 miles spans the cities of Santa Fe Springs, Whittier, unincorporated LA County, Pico Rivera, Montebello, Commerce, Bell, Maywood, Huntington Park, and Vernon. The plan would position the corridor for potential construction funding opportunities that individual cities or a consortium of cities would be able to pursue. This, however, does come with a partial grant. The total cost is $185,100, and of that amount, there is a Metro grant that will provide $135,000. The difference of which the COG is asking these cities that would benefit from this plan to contribute a share that is based on their miles within this corridor, and City of Commerce's share is $18,200. So the recommendation is that the council consider adopting a resolution to approve an implementation agreement with the Gateway Cities Council of Government for the Slauson Avenue Complete Street Study and to appropriate the city's matching share of that amount. And that concludes the report.
Yes, Councilwoman
Sorry.
Baboya.
Thank you, Mayor. Really quick, Gina, you said that our contribution would be 18,000?
Yes, 18,200 under the fiscal
Where
impact.
are you getting that number? The table that I'm looking at here on page,
Is 15,008.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the share from the COG, and then we have our additional project management cost of just under $2,400 added to that as the appropriation. So what we would send to the COG would be the 15,833, but the difference is appropriated into the account that we would then charge every time we work on that project.
okay, thank you.
Not a problem.
Is there any additional comments, questions? If there isn't, I did want to ask a question. I'm sorry, explain to me exactly what the COG is doing. I realize that they consider it a east-west travel corridor and, you know, obviously for the entire region. What does the study encompasses? What do they plan on? What is it that they're looking to do with this study?
Yeah, it's a study that's going to span all of those cities. It'll take about a year. They're going to be looking at traffic analysis. They're going to be looking at how they can improve that corridor. It's to come up with a study of proposed improvements that would benefit each of these agencies along this corridor. And then we could take that plan, once approved, and we would be able to use it to try to, you know, get some funding from grant sources. Say we have a complete plan here that's been adopted by the COG. It is a regional study. Whether we wanted to do this together as a, you know, for instance, we have a similar project on Randolph right now. Commerce is the lead agency. There's 3 other parties with us, and we were able to group together and be stronger in numbers to be able to get the $6.7 grant, which is funding the Randolph project. So, but you initially need some sort of an analysis, some sort of studies, some approved concept plan at least, with proposed improvements to be able to go after some of those dollars. So we're just looking at doing that. Now with Slauson, as you know, we already have a project for most of the corridor. However, we do not have the construction funds. We have been given the design funds, and that's what we're doing now, is designing.
So that's why I'm asking the question, because I
Yes.
recall us having that project, and obviously we didn't go with the recommendations. I believe we opted for not exactly the recommendations that were being presented. So my thoughts is, how would this impact that? Are we still gonna move
Certainly.
forward, or if a different recommendation comes from this, are we now bound to follow those recommendations?
So, Mayor, is there a timeline on this? Is there like
This
a,
one?
yeah,
No.
deadline?
Not, we can,
So the executive director will be here at our next meeting, actually, Mr. Hector de la Torre, right? To present, not necessarily on this, but normally the complete street studies, because they cross so many cities, it's a good venture to go down, because a lot of times monies that the COG can apply for, we necessarily can't by ourselves, unless you've done this analysis, right? So I think he'll be able to answer the question about the conflict, but ultimately you as a city council in the future can say, you know, because you don't have the construction costs anyway for the Slauson project, it's for the amounts of monies that you're committing, it's worthwhile going forward, because then you'll have the option to say, yay or nay, this works best for our community. But certainly, a lot of these complete street studies, the COG will have access to monies that we won't by ourselves. They will apply for and have access for the entire corridor, right? And that's frankly the reason why they have these COGs. A lot of those monies are given directed right at them instead of us, especially if and when the federal government provides all of the infrastructure monies. It's going to go through COGs and those kinds of natures, from everything that it's been indicated to different cities, none of it's going to go directly to cities. It's all going to be through these kind of conglomerate agencies.
And I understand that. The only issue that I have is that we recently had an item before us, and in that item, we were basically taking 2 lanes, and we were doing away with one, and converting it into, you know, a bike lane in essence. But to me, the impacts, I think, would be significant in terms of the amount of people that utilize that right of way. And for us to be, you know, in doing a study, I just want to make sure that we have the ability to be able to make a decision as a city if we opt not to move a certain direction. I mean, I would hate for a study to come back and say, we're gonna now do away with the 2 lanes and we want to recommend 1 lane. And now we're stuck going, oh, well, now we have to go with the COG's recommendation on this. I want us be sure that we are able to act independently in terms of our best interests, to look out for the city and protect the right of ways that we have in our community.
Yeah, the
which
COG
is very
cannot-
limited. You know, I mean, we're limited, and that's why I'm not crazy about you know, taking away right of ways that we do have. So,
yes,
so I do want to make sure we follow up. I don't mind participating in it. I just want to get an answer to that. I want to get an answer so that, you know, I don't want to be bound by a decision made by the COG that now affects us and it takes away right away from our city. I want us to have the flexibility to be able to say, no, we don't think that's correct for our city, or we don't feel right about doing that. I want us to make sure we have that right to be able to opt out.
yes.
The COG cannot take away your local control. Ultimately, you can decide what's the hook will be, well, you don't get this COG money. And that's your
monies, yeah.
decision, that's your discretion.
Right.
But they 100% cannot dictate local control.
Okay. I just want to make
And-
sure, though.
yes,
I
and I
want to be
just wanted
sure
to
that
add
that is the case.
We're in design for the majority of the Slauson corridor, so
Yeah.
we're gonna have our own locally approved design that we're gonna move forward with. I've also presented the project to the I-710 TAC, who has recommended that their board approve our $12 million request. I'm waiting until their board meets next month to see that it's happens, and I will be reporting back whether or not we will receive 12 million as part of that project to be spent on construction. But the bulk of that is already in design and would be locally approved. So this would be something that would probably help in the future and potentially at other intersections that are not part of this corridor that we're designing.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate your presentation on this and your comments. Council, I think it's a good deal for us to be, that's a small investment for us to be able to, participate in this and do a regional study and get all that. But the only thing is for me is for us to be able to have the ability to be able to decide, for ourselves if this makes sense for us. That's all. Okay, Council, what is your pleasure?
I would move, if there are no other, sorry, if you're calling for the question.
Yeah.
I would, sorry. wrong
Move
word.
to approve
I would
the
move with
recommendation?
staff recommendation.
All right, and the recommendation would be the City Council will consider adopting a resolution to approve the implementation agreement with Gateway Cities Council of Governments for Slauson Avenue Complete Street Study and appropriating funds from the city's general fund reserves for the city's share.
I'll second.
We have a second. Is there any objections? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Gina. Takes us to the moment Claude's been waiting for. Look at how excited he gets. All right. Claude, we have Transportation's operational report for the third quarter of fiscal year 2024. Please, Claude.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, City Council. Claude McFerguson, Director of Transportation for the City of Commerce. As the Mayor mentioned, I'm going to give you an overview of the third quarter operational report on behalf of the Transportation Department. To give you a little background, the Transportation Operational Report intended to provide all key stakeholders route level statistics, maintenance, safety, training, and in-depth analysis. The report also provides further detail on each performance measure, including each description analysis to account for any variances between reporting periods. Break our services down. Our primary services are fixed route. Excuse me, it's acting up a little bit. Kevin might have to kick in if it acts up. Yeah, it's locking up on me, Kevin. I'm sorry. Kevin, can you control that for me? Thank you very much. The primary services are broken down into fixed route, dollar eye, excursion, fleet acquisition, and disposal. Next, Kevin, please. Our mission statement is to provide safe, reliable, convenient, and cost-effective transportation services with a skilled team of employees dedicated to meeting the needs of our community and providing excellent customer services. And our mantra within the department is, we like to say, we're big enough to serve, but small enough to care. Next slide, Kevin. This is just to give you an organizational chart of the people that make it happen. Those are the people that's on our front lines and behind the scenes that really make the wheels turn and make it all work. I've been blessed and fortunate throughout the years. I have a great team and appreciate all they do, especially with this National Transportation Week. I just want to give them their flowers and say thank you for their services as well. Next slide, Kevin. These were our goals we do every year. We sit down as a staff and come up with department organizational goals and objectives. Our first one was to develop and maintain the transportation system to support the economic and community development while minimizing environmental impacts. And to do that, we have to provide a proactive and flexible transportation planning process that is open, inclusive, and accessible to the community. Two, our goal is to continue providing fiscal responsibility by closely monitoring capital operating budget and manage controllable expenditures, i.e. overtimes and things of that particular nature. And then also our goal is to complete and distribute a quarterly operational report for fiscal transparency and actively pursue federal and state funding operation to mitigate the city's costs. Third, continue developing transportation personnel by ensuring all performance evaluations are administered and established by the deadlines, ongoing training, and a detailed succession plan. Fourth goal is actively recruit to fill our open positions, and that was critical for us through this fiscal year. This will allow us to reduce employee overtime, minimize operator fatigue, and also help us improve our overall attendance and quality of service, and I will address that further in the presentation. Next slide, Kevin. This just give you a quick overview and snapshot of the ridership year to date. Here in the third quarter, we already have 417,000, which is basically our annual ridership throughout the year. This is a 21% increase from our previous ridership, and you do see a spike in excursions since post-COVID. Excursion trips are back in rotation, and we average between 5 and 7 trips per year. Next slide, please. This will give you a ridership broken down by route and mode to see how the ridership is distributed. Two things to note in there: one, dollar ride numbers is up considerably than where it was from like 3 years ago. We used to average roughly 500 passengers per month. Now we're at like 940 on average. Another one to look at, on a monthly basis, we average between 48,000 passengers. But it goes to something Mayor mentioned earlier, around 500. We'll be returning to City Council at our next meeting with some service changes and recommendations to enhance and improve our Route 500. So stay tuned. More detailed information is forthcoming. Next slide, Kevin. On-time performance. On-time performance calculated by evaluating the vehicle's adherence to the schedule. And based on industry standards, any time a bus arrives 5 minutes late than the scheduled time is deemed late. There's a lot of things that contribute to that. It's referenced at the bottom of the screen, such as traffic, construction project. We have had a lot of civil demonstrations downtown, which cause alternative routes. But still, we have to work and strive to improve on-time performance. You can look over the last few months, that has improved, and as of this week, it's at 77%. A couple of things we did is implemented some internal recognition to help get us buy-in with the employees. For example, every week the supervisors post up the on-time performance system-wide, and then we divided the operators into a competitive group, where we have 4 groups now. We post those on-time performance ratings every day, and then at the end of the quarter, the ones that are high level, that's performing at the highest, get recognition and get a gift towards at the end, towards our safety meeting. So I'm confident that will continue to grow. By the end of this year, end of this fiscal year, that should be up to like 80-something%. So we'll update you further on the next reporting period. Kevin, next slide, please. Service complaints. Unfortunately, that's a part of doing business in transportation, but to clarify, service complaints are incidents where any customer reports dissatisfaction with the service, period. All customer complaints received are subject to an investigation process, which ensures customers receive a response. Third, investigations include contacting the customers, whether it's phone or in writing. We review all of our intelligent transportation system data, our dispatch log, onboard videos, as well as verbal communication with the bus operator to do a thorough investigation and then respond accordingly to the customer complaint. We take this very serious and been very diligent on that this fiscal year, which is reflected in the numbers you see on the screen. Feedback from customers. Year to date, as we mentioned earlier, we traveled 417,000 miles, and we average about 4.1 complaint per 100,000 miles traveled. That is exceptional based on industry standards, but we still got room to improve, and I could discuss earlier. I will discuss further what we're doing to mitigate the numbers even further to improve our overall customer service. Next slide, Kev. What we do quarterly is customer satisfaction surveys. That's when we have our team go out into the field and talk to our passengers, our residents, and in real time, we take their information, which is put into a tablet, which we analyze when we get back to our department meeting, and we analyze each one of those, take that feedback and put efforts to improve those services going forward, and then we do a follow-up to see how we are doing. The pictures here was our last meeting was on April the 22nd, 2024, and we're committed to do that quarterly to make sure we got our finger on the pulse on how we operate and get direct feed from our customers. Next slide, Cap. This is some response from the surveys on the Second, basically staff just want to know how we doing. You know, are the transit offered routes taking them where they need to go? You know, we interviewed 21 people, and 95% was yes, no. They want us to go some other areas, Huntington Park. I think it was Whittier and a couple of the areas that we currently don't travel, but it's good information to know. The other question we need to find out for is, do they transfer to other vehicles, other services when they're utilizing ours? In most cases, it was broken down by Metro, Montebello, and the LSO. Most of the LSO passengers tend to use that to go to ELAC, but it's good information to know for us for planning purposes. Telephone activity, year to date, we average, we total little over 23,000 calls. We average about 2,300 a month. And if you look at that, that's about 90% dollar ride, as we like to say, affectionately known as our regulars. Our dollar ride individuals, even though we have electronics, apps, they like to talk to their dispatchers in person. They want to have somebody to talk to. They don't want to be on hold. So we make sure we got adequate coverage during our peak times, which is 6 in the morning, 6 in the evening, and we track those and make sure we're providing customer service. The bottom line you see on there is abandoned calls. When we see spikes in that line, that means our dollar ride passenger been on the line too long, then hung up, and then they call them back. So we utilize this as well to tailor our customer services, make sure we're meeting the needs of our customers. Next slide, Cap. This is our electronic communication activity. Now, this is on the other end of the spectrum as far as our transit. Most of our transit passengers, all their communication is mostly through the app, city website, or interactive voice response, such as Route 100, if you want to know the next ETA, press 1. Route 200, press 2, things of that nature. So that activity has continued to increase, and this also helps us as a tool to know how we need to communicate with our passengers as it relates to transit. So, for example, any alternative routes, any service adjustment, we know how they would like to get communicated, and we use this data to make sure we can push information to them through the app, or we post it on the website, which is more prevalent where individuals come to seek information. Next slide, Cap. Vehicle breakdown of preventable accidents. Total breakdown we're at year to date is 13, which is average about 1.3 per month. Greg and his team is working very diligently to even bring that number down. Again, based on industry standards, that number is exceptional. However, we anticipate that even going even lower as we continue to transition to new electric vehicles to our fleet. Those numbers should go down as well. As it relates to preventable accident, we categorize those, whether it's a vehicle accident or a work-related injury, all those we evaluate on the preventative of the accidents. And for this quarter, we've had 0 preventable accidents within our department. Next slide, Kev. Empathy and sensitivity training. This quarter, we're focusing on empathy and sensitivity training with our bus operator, which is mandatory. And what we have done, each bus operator is required to go on the bus route, in a route, and/or blindfolded. Now, this serves 2 purposes. Even though we have some drivers that have drove for years, they see a whole nother perspective when they're riding in that wheelchair, and they also when they blindfolded as well. They come in, they have to watch a video for ADA requirements, which is 30 minutes. After that, they have to go into the field. And this is mandatory for all bus operators. After they do the training, we sit down, we have a debriefing. And based on the feedback that we get, even though they've been driving years, drivers, they even subconsciously, even when they're going through across the railroad track, they may tend to drive a little bit slower now when they got a wheelchair in there, because when they sit back there, they see how I feel. Also, when they're picking up elderly or seniors, they tend to take a little extra minute to wait now, because when they're blindfolded, they see walking back, getting to a seat is not as easy or comfortable as you think. So the overall goal is to make them better operators, and based on the feedback, it's been working. Starting next month, we know our second phase of our training is going to be dealing with de-escalation techniques and how to respond in an emergency situation. And I'm, honored and pleased that our own Justin Edson, for our public safety manager, and our own Sergeant Duarte will be guest speakers at our next meeting in June. So I'm looking forward to that, and we'll provide an update during our next reporting period. Next slide, Cap. operating budget. Transportation operating budget is roughly $6.6 million. Most of that is from sales tax, and we use about 22% to the city's general fund. And historically, the city normally utilized those funds to purchase prop pay exchange funds via other cities to help maximize that dollar to cover the transportation costs. Next slide, Kev. These are some of all of our local sales tax revenues. You can see it's a litany of different funding sources we use to offset our costs, but it's critical for us to stay on top of those because each of those have different funding restrictions or different color of money, so we need to make sure we stay on top of to make sure we meet all of our audits with zero compliance and no findings. And we have not had an issue of finding in the last 15 years, so I'm pleased to say that, and a lot that has to do with our staff and administrative team for making sure we keep everything synced in order and organized. Next slide, Kev. This to give you an overall breakdown on how the money is spent per the Division of Transportation. As you can see, the bulk of it goes to transit, maintenance, 11% for Dollar Ride. Then we have our excursion at 2.5 and administrative at 6.25. So you just get an overall view of how the funds are spent. Next slide, Kev. This is where we at our budget versus actual. We are in line with our budget for the fiscal year with the exception of two areas. If you can see the CNG station, our revenue is actually higher than what is budgeted, which is reflected on the chart. And then if you look at our maintenance, our 8332 account, that's slightly over our budget allocation. And that's caused because we have two open full-time mechanic positions right now, which we've been incurring a lot of overtime, hence the change or variance from the budget allocation amount. But I am happy to say as well, we did the test phase 3 weeks ago as far as the mechanics. We got our band 1 from HR this week, so we'll be moving forward with the interviewing phase. Is it next week, right? Yeah, next Thursday we'll be doing an interview, so hopefully we could fill those two positions. So you should see that come in line toward the end of the year, and that's even taper off going into fiscal year 25. We'll be back in line with our budgeted allocation amounts. Next slide. Just to give you a quick overview of from operating expense from our budget. Year to date, now we see the roughly $2 million in revenue, and expenses at a little over $2 million. But it's worth noting, though, there's a 2-month lag as it relates to our revenue. So in essence, the station actually pays for itself, but you don't really see that because, like, for example, that revenue is showing us up through February and not reflected of, for January, it doesn't include February and in March. Next slide, please. This will give you a breakdown of the EV charging station analysis. We don't make a huge amount of money in revenue. It's like only $3,000, but the advantage you can see, if you look to the right, trees saved, better emissions, gas saved. So all of these things contribute to the city's focus to improve our carbon footprint and reduce that as much as possible. There's also several funding grants out there available right now. We're looking into to probably expand even more or coming back to council to identify some other areas where it'll be more effective within our city to help even bring that down and improve emissions even better. Next slide, Kev. Federal, state, and local legislation update. Two critical things I want to mention. On May the 3rd, Congressman Garcia went to the House and actually requested for them to increase another $3 billion as it relates to our capital investment grants. That's something that we definitely support and looking forward to utilize those funds to further absorb some of our capital expenditures here in the city with our end goal is to mitigate any additional expenses to the city. And second, Assembly Bill 2824, the bill they're putting out in regards to enhance the penalty for transit employee assault. Now here in Commerce, we've been fortunate enough, we haven't experienced any of those. If you watch the news, you'll see they had some stabbings, right? Some assaults. We've been fortunate here that haven't been the case, but we still definitely support this bill within our region where they're gonna make the penalty a lot more stringent to lock individuals up for harming a transit employee. Next slide, Kev. Lastly, on April 2024, the city of Carmel was awarded $7.1 million. 6.6 of that to go towards the funding of our new transit facility, and 500,000 is awarded to replace all of our bus shelters within the cities. I'm glad to take this opportunity too to give them their flowers, which is our fleet maintenance guy, Greg Guzman, and our transit analyst, Alyssa Mendez, who pretty much did the heavy lifting to securing those funds. And I appreciate them and thank them daily for their help in this endeavor. And just in general, our overall goal is, much as possible, identify funding sources as much as possible to mitigate expenses to the city, as well as help us cover our operational and capital expenditures going into the future. And that concludes the presentation. Myself and staff here, if you have any questions.
Questions? Comment? Yes.
Yeah, just a comment. Great
Councilmember
presentation.
Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. McFerguson. I'm just wondering, when are we going to paint our bus stops?
We're going to replace all of them. The 500,000 grant is to replace them. We just got the funding award. Alyssa processed the grant tip last week. So realistically, we're probably looking at RFP going out the first quarter, fiscal year 25. Second quarter, we can be able to award a bid and move forward, start replacing those probably realistically, probably November, December timeframe.
That's great. I like the way the buses are designed. Maybe we can do something like that with I guess the bus stops.
Thank you.
Well, you have great taste, so.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Linus?
Claude, thank you for the presentation. It's a lot of information here, but I think it's a testament to how much work goes into having a robust transit system like our city does. So happy National Transportation Week. Just a couple of questions here. You talked a little bit about the customer satisfaction surveys, and how do you we saw the image of the people at the Commerce Center like inputting into their tablets. Is that typically how you procure that feedback, or do you have other ways?
Look, both ways. One, we try to go to the peak transit centers, whether it's going to be at the Commerce Center, Commerce Shopping Center, Cal State LA, Union Station, or sometimes it's riding on the bus on the dollar ride, just asking them questions and we write it down. Whatever is easier for, conducive for the customer. So we try to get it in both aspects. So it's electronic, find out what's going on, and then based on the calls that we get, we go out and see if that's the consensus of the masses, what we can do to improve it, and we just incorporate it on our agenda as far as our regular staff meeting, see what we can do to improve upon, and put that in our planning as we come to council for recommendation regarding service.
Understood. How often do you do these surveys?
Quarterly.
Quarterly?
Yes.
Okay. And over like a day, a period of time?
That's
or-
based on scheduling and staff, but we try to at least get it in like 2 or 3 hour windows. We don't have the flexibility or manpower to do it all day, so we try to pick 2 or 3 hours to the core times of the day, for example, Union Station, it would be early in the morning between like 6 and 9.
Mhm.
That's when most people travel. At Cal State, probably more in the afternoon. The shopping center is probably a hit and miss. And then obviously, we're picking up our seniors. We can talk to them. I had the drivers ask some questions or feedback, or we'll send some of our new dispatchers out. It serves two purposes. Once we get feedback from the residents, then also it allows our newer dispatchers and our newer staff to get acclimated with our customers. Then they get to see what's going on as well. So we use it for twofold.
So you talked about Union Station, Cal State LA, the Commerce Center, the Dial-A-Ride, but you also said it's one day, 2 to 3 hours. That all happens within a 2-hour, 3-hour period?
The question, we take the questionnaires are put together in advance from our transit analysts, Alyssa here. They take the questionnaire form out based on whatever that is to go out to get feedback for those individuals in that particular time. Yeah, quarterly.
Okay, quarterly, but like one day a quarter.
Yeah, one day a quarter. We just got our staff hired. We just filled 2 part-time dispatchers. So while they out, we got to have coverage for those phones, as you mentioned over there. We get 2,000 calls a day.
Yeah, I mean, that's 75 calls a day, right? It sounded like, so it is a lot of calls for sure. So,
Right. So
yeah.
that's what we're doing right now. Once we can get a little bit more staff, then we can probably increase that. But right now, it's just done quarterly. Once we get available staff, additional flexibility, then we can probably increase those numbers without impacting the operation.
Okay, all right, understood. And great presentation. I just wanted to thank you. I just wanted to understand some of the processes and some of the things that you guys do. But thank you again. You guys do great work. We're one of the only cities in the nation that has a free public transit system, a robust free public transit system. So I really thank you, Claude, Alyssa, Greg, and everybody else on your team. They do a great job, and I appreciate you working to adapt to the community's needs. You talked about a presentation that we'll get in the next meeting, so excited to hear about that. And I guess for the members of the public and people watching online, for those who don't know, there is a way to get to Dodger Stadium from the City of Commerce absolutely free. And the way you would do that is you take the Citadel Express, the 600, right?
Absolutely.
And it'll stop right at Union Station. You get off at Union Station, and from there you take the Dodger Stadium Express, and it'll zip you right through to Dodger Stadium.
Absolutely.
So you can
I've
avoid
done
those
it
parking
myself.
fees this summer. So those are my comments, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you, Claude.
Thank you. Comments and tips for the community. Any other comments, questions? Excuse me. Claude, just quickly, I know you touched briefly on actively recruiting to fill positions. How many positions do we still have pending that need to be filled?
We only have 3 pending positions right now. We're pretty much almost fully staffed. We have 2 open
And-
full-time mechanics, and we have 1 part-time bus operator position open currently.
All right, I know there was some challenges initially with that, and we
extremely.
made some adjustments, I believe, and, hopefully you can meet with our city manager and have some discussion related to that, which may help in addressing other issues that we will probably be taking a look at. But
Will
glad
do.
to hear that. That definitely caught my attention, of course. And hopefully we can, that can help in addressing future items that we may be looking at.
It will do.
Thank you. And again, great presentation. I don't need to repeat what was just said. Great presentation, and thank you and your entire staff. You guys have been doing a great job, and we know that it's challenging at times. This is the way it is here in our community. It's very challenging at times, but you know what? You guys always definitely, I know you do your best to address issues and take care of things, and I look forward to our future presentation related to one of the issues that has been plaguing us for a while, and I'm hoping we can get that thing taken care of as well. So again, thank you, appreciate your support, and look forward to Transportation Week, look forward to the nice little invitation you sent us, so I definitely will plan on attending, and I'm sure others will probably do so as well. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you. And at this time, this was a receive and file the transportation operational report year-to-date through March 31st, 2024. So is there a motion? We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you. Yeah, wow. All right. And we have last item on the agenda. Ralph, please, approval of code enforcement / code compliance ad hoc committee and making appointments to the ad hoc committee. Yes, item number 24.
Mayor, members of the council, Ralph Rivero, City Commerce Code Enforcement Supervisor, here to present on this item. During the code enforcement operations presentation phase of the April 23rd council meeting, council members Rebollo and Lainez directed staff to schedule the creation of a code enforcement, code compliance ad hoc committee to provide code enforcement direction and to discuss and recommend code compliance assistance programs. The City of Commerce code enforcement staff actively work on improving the aesthetic quality of the city and quality of life for the city's population through enforcement measures and code compliance guidance. In past years, prior to redevelopment and agency dissolution, the city offered home improvement and compliance programs such as the Home Preservation Grant, Neighborhood Fix-Up Grant, Substantial Rehab Grant, and Senior Yard Maintenance programs, which code enforcement staff could utilize to guide persons to compliance. At this time, I'd like to recommend that council adopt a resolution approving the code enforcement, code compliance ad hoc committee and appoint 2 council members to the ad hoc committee to work with staff to study, evaluate, and recommend code enforcement direction and code compliance assistance programs.
Ralph, thank you. Thank you for your presentation there. And so at this time, we can have a discussion about this recommendation here. Any comments? Councilmember Rebollo.
No, I just wanted to emphasize, I'm glad that it's in here, the, a program for a compliance assistance program. I just wanted to reiterate, whoever sits on the ad hoc committee, that that's something that's really important, obviously not just to me, but to the community as well. And that was it. I think that was my contribution to, I know it says here that I asked for the ad hoc committee. I think there's a little bit of a typo, but I think what I wanted to see was a code compliance assistance program. So if we could just keep that in mind, that's something that's really important and really needed. And as a code enforcement officer, I know that you come across, so many seniors that cannot keep their houses up to code. So I think that's something that's really, really needed in our community. I've seen other communities do that. And again, I know that two of my colleagues have shown interest in the ad hoc committee, and I want to give them that opportunity, but also with just the opportunity of feedback for that program, and my feedback on that program. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Linus.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ralph, for walking through this. Just a couple of questions. And I think the recommendation ultimately came from you in your presentation last meeting. I think we just wanted to get it agendized for this meeting to really just wrap our head around what you were thinking. And so I think my question really is, could you clarify your expectations of what this ad hoc committee would do? What are you looking for as far as support?
My goal or my wish is to have council a little bit more involved in the process of direction of where we focus code enforcement efforts. Oftentimes we go about observing things ourselves, or complaints come in, we open up cases, and we're often questioned when persons come to council to address, voice concern or feel that they're being picked on and want to know why we're opening the case, why we're coming after them, right? And then we're often called to confer with council members to discuss why it is that we've opened the case and what we're doing. And sometimes we're even asked, why are you enforcing this code? Right?
Yeah, if I may, I want to be careful about the parameters of a committee such as this, where you will not be reviewing individual cases. I mean, I think the overall policy goals of what you want code compliance to be in the city is important and something the committee could discuss, and certainly programs to bring overall compliance to residents and in the form of grants or anything else. But we want to be careful about where we have two members of city council specifically reviewing and discussing complaints specific to either a business and or residents. So I'm a little misinformed as far as how we got to this point. I don't think it's a bad direction to go as far as the committee is concerned. I think the what you're going to be analyzing, what you're going to be discussing, kind of needs to be refined, right? And we could do that as part of the committee, and what is and what isn't appropriate with regards to legal counsel, kind of reviewing that. But code compliance, as you know, is very tricky. It can lead to litigation. And so I want to be careful about not crossing that line and focusing more on, what it is that you want code compliance to be, because you as a city council can determine, this is acceptable behavior in this community, this is not acceptable behavior in this community. And I think that's the overall direction that we could report back to the city council body as a whole as part of this committee. But I do want to be careful about what it is that the parameters are going to be. Now, we could still move forward tonight if that's the wish of the city council, and refine that at the committee level, and again, just keep the city council as a whole informed. But certainly with some of what I just heard seems problematic to me. We want to be careful about how we handle that.
I agree, and that's why I was asking, because, ultimately, I think we would want to enforce whatever is in our municipal code, right? And so I don't think we want to take things on a case-by-case basis. I think where this committee is appealing to me is in the advocacy for programming, right? And certain opportunities to help fund, people to get up to compliance, right? Like the Neighborhood Fix-It program, for example, right? But I think as far as, enforcement, for me, it's, really, okay, if this isn't up to code, then it needs to be enforced, and that's my perspective. So I would like some clarity on like the parameters of what we're looking for here, just to make sure that this is successful, and it's also keeping our organization's best interests in mind too. So those are my comments.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Yes, I have a comment. Do you have a tracking system in place?
We have a code enforcement program that we utilize called Go Enforce, that we, digital files that are kept.
And that includes photos, addresses?
Yes.
Oh,
Our
okay.
actions, our photos, a full case file for every case we do.
Okay, that was my question. And so regarding this committee, I'm not too sure if we should go this route yet. I think we should push it back a little bit and just concentrate on our quarterly reports just to see what you come up with and see where you are with that. That's my thoughts. That's my comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Is there any additional questions? I'll let you go first, and then
No,
I'll
just,
finish
sorry,
up.
just really quick, sounds like we may table this, but if we don't, I also wanted to recommend, I'm not sure if he's already a part of this, but our public safety manager, I think it would be a good idea to have him part of this ad hoc, because I do feel like there needs to be another side of oversight to this. And I would think that the public safety manager would be a good component to add to this, if this is the route we're gonna move on to. That was it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments. I too saw a couple of red flags related to this item, and it more, I mean, we have our codes and I'm sorry, what do we refer to it as, the municipal code, yeah, that we have basically, and those generally are our guidelines. For me, I think, you have that, and sometimes they can be problematic. Sometimes they will lead to, again, what was already stated, and it can get a little bit, people do believe or think that you're personally going after them. And I don't personally think that the city council should, by being part of that committee, and let's say they get to hear these cases, or maybe even go out and look at these issues. I don't know if they will get drawn into that, where maybe they now end up having to go and testify, things along those nature. I just don't think it's a good idea. I just think we need to support our organization with regards to those municipal codes, and making sure and trying to help and assist people, and we do tend to work with people, I think, we do. We go the extra mile sometimes. We send them second notices, we give them extensions, we do different things to try to help and assist our community, to try to bring them into compliance. But I'm just not sure. I think we should maybe table the item and give it a little bit more thought before we make a decision on this, so that if we do move forward in this direction, and I'm okay doing it, because you're absolutely correct about some of these programs that we have under this, in terms of either appropriating resources. I know we have one that I thought I loved, which was the senior maintenance programs. We used to have it. I don't believe we have it any longer. And that to me is a great program. There's people out there that just can't do their yards anymore. They can't. They're not out there. They don't have the equipment. They don't have the funding. And it's something as simple as that. Wow, it makes part of our community look so much better. And we used to do that before, and people needed to apply and qualify, and then we would go out and take care of that. But I don't believe that program exists anymore. So there's a lot of little things that I think we can do, and maybe appropriate funding for, that I think would help our community look much better, bring, some of our community and residents in compliance. that sort of thing. So I like what you're thinking, what you just made reference to, and we can potentially do it as part of a reporting, process, or maybe even looking at these different programs and seeing if we want to figure out a way to try to fund and bring some of those programs back. But please, let's refer this back to legal counsel. Let's get a little bit more direction if we want to refine it a little bit. And that way, we're all in a much better position moving forward. Ralph?
Yeah, so if I can clarify, my intent is not to discuss individual cases with council in these meetings. It's to have a broad conversation of what types of issues we're seeing in the city that we'd like to address as an overall. And that's where I want, or I'm hoping to get some council involvement so that we strategically work together to look at areas that we need to address on a whole, not specific cases. And that's my hope.
All right. Why don't we, I would feel much more comfortable with the direction that I believe was suggested. Why don't we move forward to let legal counsel and our city manager take a look at this a little further and make sure we get proper guidance and direction so that, at a future meeting, we can bring it back. And please touch bases with each of the council, see if there's anything of concern that they may have related to the item, so that we can have an item that we can move forward with. Okay? Any objections?
Mr. Mayor, would it be also prudent to look at the previous council meeting and make those corrections on this staff report? I don't know if the staff report is like a legal document, but the minutes are right. This is in the minutes, correct? So I just want to make sure that we're putting the right information in the staff report. So we could just take a look at that?
Sure.
I mean, we could bring back maybe a revised staff report and for the record, but as far as a legally, problematic staff report, I have no concerns about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Is it items that were maybe discussed and not maybe presented or
No.
omitted, or what?
No,
are
it's
you-
just, here it's stated that Councilmember Lainez and myself directed staff to schedule the creation of a code enforcement, the ad hoc committee, and I don't remember giving that direction.
Okay.
So I just
it
want to
was-
make
Was
sure
it more
that-
of a discussion that was had related to
Well,
this?
I did ask for the code compliance assistance program. I just don't remember directing staff to bring an ad hoc committee forward. I thought that was suggested to us.
The comments that were made were, for me in particular, I would like to agendize the presentation of the ad hoc committee for the next meeting, right?
Okay.
And I think, so ultimately, however you want to move forward with the report, that's
Yeah.
up to you, right? But I think just piggybacking off of what you said, I think it is important to just establish good parameters around this committee, just because of the implications that our city manager just mentioned, so.
That was it, just for the legal room.
All right, so there's no
If I may,
objection.
Mr. Mayor, just for the record, just you saying what you said on the record, I think that clears the record as far as what, how this item was brought to the council, so.
Great. So if there's no objection, we'll refer the item back to legal counsel and our city manager for further review and any modifications that need to be made, and we'll bring this back for further discussion. Thank you. Ralph, thank you very much. Appreciate your time and your presentation. And we know that code enforcement is a tough issue out there. We know that. You get calls from me, you get calls from others, and, I know that sometimes we want to help folks, but at the same time, I think part of, having a good community that looks good out there, things are decent, you need to have people comply with a lot of these codes that we have in place, and they're there for good measure for all of us, so, and we need to do that at some point in time. Yeah, so, thank you again for the great work you guys are doing out there. Tough job. Thank you. All right, thank you. That concludes all of the items on our agenda. At this time, we'll move to City Council Successor Agency reports. And I'll go with our ladies first. Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended two great programs, the preschool graduation, the Student Leadership Day. The preschool graduation was a wonderful event. I enjoyed the diplomas, the pictures and the songs, the performances by the preschoolers. And the graduates will soon embark on your graduation journey. Congratulations to all the graduating class. And it was just so cute to see everyone go up there and get their diploma, standing there for pictures. It was just a wonderful event. The Student Leadership Day, again, Parks and Rec with another wonderful setup. The creativity that displays is always outstanding. Great job, Anthony. It was an exciting day. I'm glad that I was assigned to a student who shadowed me for the day. He was able to walk through the city council offices. I sat with him step by step, went over a lot of things with him, what we do for council, what we do in the background, how we do our closed sessions, and how we come up here at the dais. The event was such a wonderful positive impact, and I'm looking forward to next year. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Rebollo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I would like to welcome our new city manager, Mr. Ernie Hernandez, to the City of Commerce, as he was presented earlier. I'm really looking forward to this new chapter in the City of Commerce, so I just wanted to welcome you and hooray to your first meeting. What a welcome. But thank you again for your commitment to help us implement the vision that we have for the City of Commerce and to always keep the community at the forefront of everything that we do and what's best for the community. So welcome to Commerce, Mr. Hernandez. Second, I wanted to touch up on Student Government Day. And again, yeah, thank you to Greg. I know you sat in multiple meetings to make sure that this vision came to life. So thank you again for exceeding the expectations of what we thought student government was going to look like. And thank you for taking the vision of Student Board President Liliana Magaña, who is also a resident of the City of Commerce. She had this vision to bring this leadership day here to the City of Commerce. She did it last year just within the district. And this year she made sure that she involved different cities, ourselves, Montebello, Pico Rivera, Monterey Park. I think I mentioned everybody, and the district office. So it was 5 different agencies collaborating and working together to bring students from the Montebello Unified School District to participate in a day where they learn all about civic duties and what council does, what our staff does. So thank you again, Greg. I know it was not an easy task, but you definitely exceeded my expectations. I know that Student Government Day is a day that I remember back when I was in high school, and as we spoke to different adults that day, everybody spoke about exactly what they remembered from Student Government Day. So I know that these students will always remember the experience that they had here in the City of Commerce. So thank you to every single staff member that took on a student and that mentored a student for Student Government Day, because I know that this imprint is going to stay with them for a lifetime. And one day when they come back and give back to our community and hopefully maybe be sitting on this dais or be a director in the City of Commerce, they're going to mentor the next kid for Student Government Day, and they're going to talk about their experience, because mine was X amount of years ago, maybe last year, just kidding. And I still remember exactly who I shadowed, what I was wearing, what I learned that day, and how that sparked an interest in really politics for me. So thank you again to our staff. Thank you to Board President Liliana Magaña for having this incredible vision and for allowing the City of Commerce to be a part of it. With that same day, Councilmember Lainez and I met with, and I want to give a shout out to these amazing young leaders. They're 8th graders here from Rosewood Park School, Rosewood Park STEAM Academy. They're the ASB. Omar Terrones, their president, approached me a week prior to, before that day, and had asked if he could meet with me and Councilmember Lainez about some collaborations and just to promote the ASB club at Rosewood STEAM Academy. It was the day I was giving out paletas for Dia del Niño, and he came to get a paleta. Then he said, "Hey, do you think my club and I could meet with you and Councilmember Lainez?" And I said, "Sure." And I said, "What about?" He's like, "Well, I just want to talk about my club and just, some things that I think that the city could help us with." And I said, okay, you know, it's so rare to see like a teen, right, approach a council member, let alone what I call a tween, right? And I said, okay. And then he just kind of explained that him and his club, all Commerce residents, they lost their advisor during the school year. Not lost to like, the advisor was sick and ended up having an injury, and so they didn't have an advisor. So what these kids did is they met after school here at our public library, and they planned out activities for their 8th grade year. And I said, like on your own time? And he said, yeah. So I just want to give a shout out to Kyle, Sophia, Omar Terrones, Allison, and Malvin. They all came in. I mean, Omar came in his suit. The boys came in their button-up shirts, and they sat there and they pitched, you know, their needs and their ideas and how the city can collaborate with them, and talked about their club and how important the club was to them. And I mean, we just sat there like in awe, like, man, like these are 8th graders. Some of them I've known since they were babies, and they're sitting here super confident, right, talking about like, how can I as a council member help them and their club, and essentially, you know, their 8th grade cohort, their 8th grade peers. So I just wanted to kind of give them a little shout out and just congratulate them and their parents for raising such wonderful little leaders who I know one day are going to be sitting up here. So I just wanted to give them a quick shout out. So thank you to the Rosewood Park STEAM Academy ASB. We are continuing to work and thank you Parks and Rec for helping us help them. And anybody that would like to collaborate with us in helping them either donate money to their club for some of the festivities or donate superhero costumes for a show they're putting on, please let one of us know, and we'll connect you either with their advisor, who thankfully is back from his injury, or we can donate it directly to them. So just a quick little shout out there. And that's it. So with that, I was not at the preschool graduation, and I'm really sad that I missed it. But I was in San Diego supporting my son and our water polo program. And that's it. That concludes my report. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night, and God bless everybody.
Thank you, Councilmember Arroyo, for your report. Councilmember Linus.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilwoman, for mentioning the Rosewood Park Student Council. The future is definitely looking bright, so I won't be redundant, but I was really impressed with their courage and just their ability to communicate their needs and really just wanting to create core memories, since, you know, they're going to be going off to high school, and some of them different schools, right? So it may be the last time that they're all in a room together. So definitely want to help and support them however we can. I do want to welcome our new city manager, Ernie Hernandez. Ernie, we're extremely excited to have you on board. I know I am. You have a great track record from what I know. I'm very hopeful that you'll transition into your new role and help us fortify our organization. And I just look forward to a great working relationship and ultimately delivering results for our community. So thank you for coming on. It's been a little bit of a while since our last council meeting, so this may run a little long, but I'll try to keep it brief. On May 24th, I attended the Women in Business Luncheon at the Commerce Casino. Some of the employees were there, but I do want to commend the Commerce Business Council on a wonderful event, and also congratulate Supervisor Janice Hahn and Commerce's own Tatiana Duckworth for her Community Service Award. It was really great to see her up on stage and be commended for some of the things that I know she's partnered with the mayor on and some of our civic organizations, so that was really great to see. On April 29th, you know, there was the Union Pacific Railroad meeting at the Senior Center, and so I do want to thank our staff for coordinating and working with Union Pacific, but I also want to thank Lupe Valdez for coming and fielding questions both in English and Spanish and going through some of the processes that need to be gone through for Union Pacific to, you know, file a claim or file a complaint. But, you know, in watching that meeting, and Mayor, you got up and you talked about it a little bit during the meeting, and I totally agree. I think we do need to follow up and discuss internally, like how we can help mitigate some of those concerns and really working with UP. Because there are some concerns that the residents in the Ferguson, the Astor, and the ABC communities have, and, you know, just based on the answers that we got, a lot of onus was being put on them to file claims, to follow this and fill out that. And so, I think maybe if we can work on discussing a plan to help support them, I think that would be beneficial for those communities. On May 1st, I attended the Gateway Council of Governments meeting in Paramount, and one update that was relevant to commerce was they gave an update on the Citadel Metro stop. So just so everyone's aware, construction should begin in 2029. It feels like a long way away, but it'll be here before we know it. And I think it'll be a 6-year process where they'll construct from Atlantic and Pomona to the Citadel and then to Washington and Greenwood. So I think that entire kind of route will take about 6 years based on their estimates. So 2029 is when they should break ground. So I'm pretty excited about that, as that will help our community and our Citadel and our economic development in that sense. On May 2nd, as my colleagues mentioned, we had Student Leadership Days. So I do want to thank Greg, Adolfo, I think Lisa even attended a few of the meetings, but just thanking you for leading the coordination efforts with MUSD. But also I want to thank all city departments, all department heads, all staff members that work with our youth to really expose them to the different professions and different career opportunities that exist within a civic organization. I know when I was their age, I had no idea what a city manager was, what a director of finance was, or what an accountant was. Well, maybe an accountant, but a lot of the positions out here that we have. And so I do want to thank our city for really putting together what I thought was the best one out of all the cities in the district, the best day. We had a great balloon set up and an excellent breakfast. And what everybody told me as far as staff is it was a team effort. So I think it was all hands on deck. It was a team effort. And so I really want to thank everybody involved. And of course, I want to thank MUSD and mostly Board President Liliana Magana for really creating this tradition that I think will now be annual. And I'm just looking forward to next year. On May 4th, I attended the preschool graduation. I mean, amazing decorations. I want to thank Brenda, city staff, who have gone above and beyond like each year to create an amazing experience where our families can celebrate, take pictures, and create some core memories. It's great listening to the ABCs and the "If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands," and it's just wonderful to see like our kids, our youth develop. It's a really great event. I want to thank the HR department and everyone else involved for moving the YES program forward. I did watch the lottery yesterday on Facebook Live, and we had a pretty good response. I think 99 applicants from what I counted on the wheel. I counted each little row on the wheel, and we got 50 in, and I know we got a wait list. So thank you to Marlo, everybody else involved in HR that helped move that forward. Jose, I think, was out here announcing the different names. I also want to give a huge shout out to Frank Garcia and our baseball coaches at each of our different parks. We've just started the baseball season last week, and the kids just seem to be having a lot of fun. I know my son's in there, your son's in there, right? It's a great time, and so far everything's going great. And lastly, I know it wasn't consent, but I do want to acknowledge National Public Works Week next week. This week is all about transportation, but next week, is National Public Works Week, and I want to commend our very own Public Works Department, who works so hard to maintain our parks, our facilities, our streets. It's not an easy job, and I just wanted to thank the department for all that they do throughout the year to help keep Commerce beautiful. And that's all I have to report. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Council Member. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I won't be redundant. I was able to attend the same events that my colleagues did, and everything they said is true. I can verify I was there. I did attend the Union Pacific meeting at the Senior Center. I did go to the preschool graduation, which was so cute. And thank you, staff, for always creating great, I forget, what was his name, Mr. Bluey, yeah, Bluey. I did attend the Women in Business event. Then I only spent 45 minutes there. I had to go to the Sanitation District meeting in place of the mayor. The Student Government Day was awesome, of course. Student Government Day was awesome. Liliana Magana did come up with the great idea to unite all the schools and different cities. I think it was remarkable. Aquatics, I mean, we've always supported aquatics, right? So I think we're going to do what's right for aquatics. We do want to expand programming there. I mean, I remember as a kid, 5 years old, 4 years old or whatever, hitting the old swimming pool. I mean, it's not there anymore. We moved it, but we get to make it great again. We get to bring back all those programs and tournaments the way we used to have it back in the days. I mean, I want to see programming throughout the day. It looks like there's some windows there that's nothing going on there. I'd like to see all that happen again. What else? Ernie Hernandez, thank you so much for coming out here with a great attitude and supporting us and just putting City Hall back together. And I appreciate you meeting with all of us, spending time with all of us. It's only been, I think, a week and 1 day, so I don't think you can quit yet, or you owe us some money. So I'm just playing. But I want to thank you for being here. Looking forward to working with you, and looking forward for all the employees to meeting you and you guys all working together. So thank you so much. And that's my request.
May I chime in? Yes, welcome aboard, sir. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you to all of your very extensive reports. So I'm going to try to keep it very short. Obviously, you all know that I was out in Aguascalientes, Mexico, representing the city. We were invited to their annual, that's our sister city, and we were invited to their annual Feria de San Marcos. And I was very appreciative for the reception that we received in Aguascalientes by the staff over there. They really were, we have an interim mayor over there because they're going through an election right now. And the interim mayor and his wife took the time to meet with us, to actually invite us over to one of the events, the Corrida de Toros, or the bullfights. And it was very nice, beautiful. We really enjoyed it. And also we had the opportunity to meet with some business people from Aguascalientes. And they really had an outstanding reception for us. I'd like to thank Beatriz, our former director, Beatriz Sarmiento, and of course our current director, Sonia, who also were there for all of their help in working with us, coordinating, going to all of the events with us. Also our president of our Sister City Association, Ms. Gonzalez, was awesome in coordinating, putting all these things and working with our sister city over there and putting all the schedule together with them. But some of you who have attended know it's a busy schedule from morning all the way until the evening. You know, you're going from one place to another.
Exhausting.
And it is tiring. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of walking, and it's busy. It's a busy day. But anyways, I just want to say it was a very nice trip. I think it was just good to visit our folks in Aguascalientes. There were some issues that we covered, and I will probably like to brief with our city manager later to go over some of the issues that we discussed with our Presidente Municipal over there, with members of the Sister City Association, just some areas that I think we may be able to meet and talk about, see if we can help out. One of the things that I really enjoyed was that years ago I had the opportunity to go over there, and we set up a meeting because there's a casino there that they operate every year. And I looked at it, and you know, it just, to me, based on what we have here, I was like, hey, if we get you guys together with the folks here in our city, maybe you guys can come up with a way to make it more, run it a little bit more where you can generate more money, in essence. And we set up a meeting. Staff from Commerce Casino went to Aguascalientes, looked at the operation, and also their former Presidente Municipal and Governor of Aguascalientes actually came down here, met with staff, and he brought his staff, and they met, talked, and I just kind of figured nothing ever happened with that. But this last time, they gave me a tour, and I went through the casino, and guess what? I'm not kidding you. You guys go over there, you take a look at it yourself. I thought I was going, the floor, everything, it was like they remodeled the casino over there. Not all they did the new portion, but I'm telling you, it looks great. They did a great job, and I wasn't sure if it came as a result of that, but to see that, it reminded me that I was like, wow, I'm hoping that that's where it came from. But it was good to see that. It looks really nice. They did a great job, and I'm sure it's operating a lot more efficiently than it had been in the past. And I think it was a good thing. I really got a kick out of seeing that, and I hadn't heard anything, so I wasn't sure what took place. Also, I really enjoyed sitting in the Presidente Municipal's office and actually looking at the wall, and I could actually see various Presidente Municipales that I had met in the years that I've been to Aguascalientes, and I believe 3 of them became governors of Aguascalientes. And I had the pleasure to meet them, and one of them I ran into, one of the former governors I ran into at the feria, and as we were going into the toros, he was walking in and he recognized me. We hugged and we were talking, how you been, and just kind of chit-chatting, and it was just good to see him and kind of reconnect, and just it was very nice. So I enjoyed it. It was very nice, and it was just good to have that, rebuild those strings of sisterhood with our sister city. And they asked about you, Ivan, by the way. They asked about Ivan, and I said, yeah, absolutely, he's there, and hopefully he'll have an opportunity to come in the future. And they were they said nothing but good things about you. So anyways, I'll just move on. I won't be redundant. Student Government Day, I want to really acknowledge our outstanding staff. Thank you to Greg and Parks and Recreation, and as already mentioned, all of our staff that participated, because I know that you got this request last minute and you guys came together and really made it happen. But not only made it happen, but you really did an outstanding job. It was just awesome. And all of the kids that were here, I think, left with some very memorable experiences. I've had the pleasure of doing it for many years and seeing many kids come through here, and you know, they've enjoyed this for many years, and it was good to see that back. But also the fact that we've done something different here. And I want to thank our, as already mentioned, President Liliana Magaña for her vision to actually bring this back now that she's on the school board. But not only that, but bring all of these cities together and make it something even better and bigger. And I like that. It's great. I thought it was an excellent way of moving forward. I'll move on to our preschool graduation. Again, Greg and your entire staff for your creativity. You guys are, you have such unbelievable talent and Parks and Recreation. And no matter what we throw at you guys, what challenge we put, you guys not only meet it, but exceed our expectations. And this year was no exception. Beautiful. I think it was awesome. We loved it. Everybody there. I heard nothing but really positive comments from some of the people that I spoke to and talked to. So thank you again to everybody who participated in that. I also had the opportunity to attend the Caltrans District 7 annual Workers Memorial, which was held at the offices here in the City of Commerce, right off the 5 freeway. And I want to thank our new city manager. Thank you for attending with me. I appreciate you being there. And it was very well attended. And basically, they're reminding everybody they've lost many lives over the years trying to keep our highways, you know, cleaning them up, doing work on them, repairs and whatnot. And you know, there's been many accidents where people have lost their lives, and every year they have a memorial there here at the District 7, and it was just good to be there. I've had the opportunity to partner with them working on a cleanup that we did on our I-710 going north as you enter, and we had over close to 30 volunteers, and it turned out really nice. We did a great job. I'd love to take much of the credit for it, but reality is that, you know, they contributed a great deal. They brought all the heavy machinery, the trucks, and all of the tools that we needed. But we also brought a lot of good volunteers that worked really hard. So I want to thank everybody for that. And, you know, I want to continue to build that relationship with our district office here locally and all of our leadership there so that we can continue to clean up the different on-ramps and off-ramps here in our community, which I think are vital and important to making sure when people come and visit our city that they see that that, you know, we have a clean city here, so I think it's important. We've touched on Union Pacific Railroad meeting, thank you. You know, we will be continuing, I believe, there's been some meetings that have been had already with Lupe, and we're gonna be working to come up with some viable solutions to some of the issues and concerns that have been raised, and, you know, I'm sure that we'll make sure that, to make that something that, you know, the Ferguson neighborhood and other areas of our city will benefit from. But I'm looking forward to those ongoing meetings and discussions so that we can bring about some solutions to some of these problems that have been plaguing us for some time. So, again, that concludes my report. Thank you all, and appreciate you all being here. Thank you. And, oh, my apologies. Welcome to the City of Commerce. Thank you. I've had the pleasure of knowing you for many years before you come in here. I served on Gaming Cities. You were previously with Hawaiian Gardens. I think we had a pretty decent relationship with the different issues that we worked on related to gaming. And I view it as you bring something positive. You understand gaming, and it's important, and we have a lot of challenges related to gaming. And I think you'll definitely be a contribution in that area to making sure that we continue to protect the interests of not only our city, but the surrounding cities that have card clubs in their respective cities. And thank you for, I think in general, I believe people are receiving you well here in the community. I know you have a great deal of experience, and we look forward to utilizing it to addressing some of the issues that we've had to deal with now. One of it, you know, whether it's HR, whether it's some of the ongoing problems that we've had, you know, we will be leaning on you to address some of these issues as we move forward. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may speak out of turn, I failed to, I did want to recognize the work of Vilco and the management team in the transition from prior to my arrival. So they certainly helped get me informed in a very quick manner. So I appreciate that, but I do appreciate the kind words from all you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody, thank you, and that concludes our meeting for this evening. Buenas noches, sí.